What's up, everybody? Andres Gamboa here in another episode of the Ponytails Podcast. Thanks for joining episode 174. And I have my buddy Paul Stevens in the house. But a little bit about Paul in a second. Couple of announcements. Do not skip past these because every time they're the same, but also every once in a while they're different. So maybe if this is your first time, if this is your maybe you're a repeating customer of our show, welcome. Thank you for being on here. If you have no idea what the hell this is about, we interview people who sold books with Southwestern Advantage. It's a company that's been around since fucking the Civil War, like literally. And they recruit college kids to sell books door to door for 80 hours a week, Monday through Saturday, literally 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. for straight commission with no living situation set up and just a crazy amount of adventure ahead. So we talked to people who did that program, one or multiple summers, and then they share the stories about what they experienced and how their life has changed for the good, the worse, the ugly, the pretty. I don't know. Since then, it's been a lot of fun. Obviously, 174 episodes in, we have gotten some amazing content, some amazing stories. Make sure you go check out all of those. Subscribe, like, follow, Instagram, all that jazz. We're everywhere. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, we're all the places. If you were listening to us on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a review. If you're listening to us on Spotify, leave us a rating. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Goes a long way, really does help out. So we would appreciate it if you could do that. Um, Now, a couple of things. If you haven't yet signed up for our newsletter, it's called the Colt, COLT. Of course, everything's horse themed here, but the Colt is just hits a little on the nose. So make sure you make sure you give us your contact email that you would like to get some more information about the show from. You can keep up to date with all the things that are happening at the show, vote on some stuff that we're doing, whether it's the logo color or kind of what guests to have on, all that jazz. There's a bunch of things you can do to get involved and support us that way if you would like to or if you care. So if you don't, no problem. That's okay too. A little bit about my guest, Pauly Stevens. Oh, my man, Paul. He's old just the one summer, but it was glorious. And it was in 2017. It's actually right after my last summer, but I got to meet Paul because I stayed connected with the company for a little bit, especially since my brother is a DSLer. And Pauly, he's awesome. Originally from Las Vegas, of course, he went to University of Nebraska and Lincoln, part of the Force organization under my brother, and is currently also in Vegas. If you guys want to get a hold of Paul, go on LinkedIn. Stevens, that's STEPHENS, like not with the V, but with the PH. So Paul Stevens, go find him on LinkedIn. If after this you're like, holy shit, what's Paul been up to? I gotta go connect with him. His favorite scroll is "I will laugh at the world," and particularly because of the phrase "this too shall pass," which I think is phenomenal. I love that. I just think that's really cool. So in a sec, we'll be on with Paul. Ponytails Podcast. Let's get out schedule for a sec. Talk about Will Metscher, who helps people get the fuck out their own way. Move, bish. Get out the way. Go work with Will. Okay, back to work. Being off schedule for a quick second to spotlight a jockey of ours. Cardinal Seated Benefits helps families who have old people in their life and they're going to die. So they help them with final expense insurance. And it's pretty badass. So back to work. Cerebral palsy.
Mr. Gamboa, how are we, my man? Thanks for having me on.
please, please, Mr. Gamboa is my father.
Mr. Andres.
Mr. Dre. No, Mr. Andres. I've never been called Mr. Andres, but I'll take that. I'll take that. Paul, my man, it's so good to see you, brother.
Dude, it's good to see you. How have you been? See you got married. You're a
That's right, baby. Look at this.
man.
Boom. All all the single ladies. Sorry about it. No, man, it's been great. Been getting married. I moved to Portland. Did I tell you? Wait. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I think I did tell you in the background when we were chatting. Moved to
Yeah,
Portland. Got 2 dogs. Started this show. Been doing this full time. It's been great. It's been a lot of fun.
right on, brother. Well, congratulations. I'm glad things are going well for you. It's
Yes,
been too
sir.
long.
Cheers.
Cheers, man.
It
I
has
got
been
my
too long.
Moscow mule, or actually, it's a mezcal mule. I got a Latina girlfriend. She has me on the mezcal now.
You got a Latino girlfriend? Oh boy.
He's Mexican.
Paul is a she's Mexican? Paul is a
Yeah,
brave man. You are a
I
of course
know.
you are. You went and sold books.
No, she's awesome. She's a good girl. But,
How'd you guys meet? Was it in Lincoln?
no, surprisingly, we met in 5th grade. She, like, was in my 5th
What?
grade class for, like, half the year. Didn't talk for maybe 10, 12 years, and then we kinda reconnected during the pandemic, and then we've been together, like, 2 years now. It's crazy.
The good old Pandy. The good old Pandy. A lot of good things come out of it too.
A lot of good things. It was a crazy time.
Damn, bro. Well, shit. Let's take a big swig out of our drinks. Make sure they go down. The first one at least should go down quick. But mm,
Cheers. Salud.
we're gonna be buzzing. We're gonna be buzzing, sir. But let's dive right in, dude. I don't think I've talked to you about what you've been up to or anything since I saw you last, which would have been years ago. So let's just start there. 2017, you sell books. You get done selling books. Where did you go? What have you been up to since? And what are you up to now?
Yeah, dude. So after 2017, my first summer, I kind of just finished out college. The next summer, I did an internship here in Las Vegas for an IT reseller, which is actually the company I'm working for right now. So it worked out good.
Let's
Had
go.
it in through a family friend. And then I believe we met up for a beer maybe in like 2019 or something, like right before
Yes.
the pandemic hit in the middle of my senior year. Um, I think you were in the process of moving. Did you move somewhere before Portland?
No, it was I was thinking
You
and
were
looking
doing long
around. I was
distance
shopping
or
around.
something, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so then, pandemic hit. I came home early for college. I had a virtual graduation, about 3 years graduated now, and um, I was a sales rep for a startup company called Lifeback. That actually, I did this for a year. It helps people control and moderate their drinking. So it uses like a medication called baclofen, as well as kind of coaching and tips. So people don't necessarily have to go through the whole like AA thing. They can kind of just go cut way back on their drinking and not necessarily have to go all out and like be completely sober. So it was like kind
Oh,
of an
interesting.
alternative. So what I did for there was just kind of reach out, bring in new clientele, stuff like that. And then I got offered a job with my current employer. It got hit pretty bad, the IT industry in Las Vegas during the pandemic because the whole strip was shut down.
Yeah,
Not
I can't. I was
every
about to ask you. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole strip was empty, like, I rode my bike around it, it was like a ghost town, it will probably never happen again.
Bro.
Um, and then, yeah, obviously, the industry picked back up, and I've been with this job for about a year, and, that's where I am present day.
Dude, okay, so a couple questions. So Vegas during a pandemic has to be one of the most depressing visuals of, I mean, like a city that's just known for bustling and hustling, people everywhere living it up, walking down the street with a drink in their hand. It's kind of like New Orleans, but slightly more classy, right?
Yeah.
To go from that to just straight up nothing, that's bananas, bro.
Yeah,
Bananas.
it was weird. It was very crazy, but,
That's so
a lot of
so
time for
wild.
self-reflection, right? I mean, the strip was closed down, there's really not much going out, like, people were really strict about the social distancing, mask mandates, so, um, yeah, it was a lot of time for self-growth, which is kinda what this internship was for, right?
Yes, sir. So what you said IT sales? What exactly like does that mean? What are you selling and what does your like day to day look like?
Definitely. So IT sales is kind of a niche market, but it's growing big time and there's a lot of different varieties. So I work for an IT reseller or system integrator. So we work with a lot of the major OEMs, manufacturers like Dell, IBM, Cisco, security manufacturers like Barracuda, Palo Alto, companies like that. And we're only like 350 employees, but so we're pretty small. But what we do is do business to business for like Fortune 1000 companies. So we're all across the country. It's called Technologent, but primarily in Vegas, we work a lot with the casinos and hotels. We do a blend
Right.
of software, hardware, and professional services. Um, so a lot of my clientele are usually like IT directors, senior network engineers, security architects, things like that.
Whoa. So if I wanted to like rob a casino, you'd be one of my 11 from Ocean's 11. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about? Would you be one of them? You'd be like
no,
the
I'd
guy.
find you your 11. I'd sell you the 11. I wanna be the 11, dude. So, it's funny because in IT sales, like, you have to really take a bite of humble pie, realizing you're not the smartest guy and you're not gonna know your product or your service better than the engineer that's assigned to your account. So, the job of the sales guy is just to get the nerds talking, shut your mouth, and then kinda direct the conversation to where you can best bring value to the account or to the customer. So, it's definitely a different type of,
Huh.
sale.
Okay, what part of your Southwestern, even though you had one summer, and this is a really good episode to maybe highlight how good even one summer can really help a person or maybe harm. I don't know. I don't know what your experience was, but how do you think that it hurt you? And maybe what ways maybe did it not to help you so much to do Southwestern and then do what you do now?
I don't think it really hurt me. I mean, there was a big difference because Southwestern is obviously like knocking on doors nonstop, 70 hours, quick transactional sales. You're only trying to get them to close within 20 minutes. Where this is completely different in the fact that it's like 3 to 6 months sales cycles. If you're selling
Whoa.
hardware right now, the lead times are like 3 to 6 months backed up. So you're not getting paid till like 7, 8 months after you make a sale. So transitioning from that Southwestern type of sale to like a more slow sales cycle is definitely the one thing that's didn't translate very well. One thing that's really helped me from my Southwestern experience was just like not being intimidated to talk to a lot of these people because you speak to like these C-level executives, like the CIO, the CEO at some of these gaming companies, these hotels, casinos, utility companies, and like most people like kind of quake in their boots, like kind of fuck up. Like doing that Southwestern summer and just talking to so many people who came from all different backgrounds, from wealth, from middle class, like you realize everyone's just people. They're all dealing with the same personal problems, the same shit, and that's really just helped me build confidence. And despite my age, being able to connect quickly with a lot of the accounts and IT directors I work with right now.
That's so cool. So let's dig into this because I think this is super interesting. So, and for people who don't maybe are still selling books or maybe they haven't had to experience this kind of sale yet, like when you mean by long term sales, this is kind of like solar, where the sales process is actually multiple meetings, multiple sit downs, accommodating and tailoring to each client completely differently. No two clients are really the same, although they kind of are, and then it's like a long ass process. So, what have you learned with this new job that maybe you didn't pick up in Southwestern as far as like how to handle such a long transaction? What would be some like pro tips that you've really picked up?
So 90% of the IT industry is relationships and just catering and nursing those relationships, making sure you're accountable with your customer, whether it's a $500 PO or a $2 million PO. You want to be consistent and you want to be not slacking or um, taking your hand off the wheel too much because otherwise competitors will slip in and take the accounts because when you build the relationships, and Vegas is a tough market because it's very stubborn and stuck in its ways, so it's really hard to break in here. So I'm very fortunate. I kind of had an in to the industry where I got introduced to a lot of these C-level CIOs, directors of ITs in the Las Vegas Valley. But definitely just making sure to do the right thing by the customer and be transparent, be trustworthy. All values I learned from Southwestern, not taking the easy road, really goes a long way in nurturing these relationships long term and getting you money and feeding your family years down the road. And that can be in any industry like real estate, um, other types of technology sales as well.
Yeah, insurance, all that jazz. Yeah, that's
Insurance.
absolutely correct. Yeah, man. And so, do you think that you prefer the long sales, or do you ever wish it were like shorter? Like, what's the sweet spot for you?
Yeah, I think I could like if you do software sales, it's a lot shorter sales cycle, but there's so much software out there. Our bread and butter for a reseller is our integration piece, so our professional services, which is literally getting smart people who know what the hell they're doing onto your property and integrating a solution or fixing a problem. So it is a pain in the butt. It's really good for time management and having free time and being able to coordinate your schedule well because you can kind of keep a wide overview of when deals are going to close, when they're going to execute, and what you have coming up next in the pipeline. But I do miss like short, sweet, like um, B2C sales where you're actually making relationships with the consumers. So I say this a lot. My industry, I like what I do a lot. I don't love it. So it's not going to be a super long term thing, but it's definitely a good stepping stone to get me where I want to be in my professional sales career.
I was about to ask you. So, what's the North Star? Like, what do you want? Is this what you see yourself? This obviously the answer is no, but I was going to ask you. Like, was this a 10-year thing or a lifetime thing, or what's the plan going forward for Paul?
We'll kind of see, man. I'm gonna be praying about it. I think I'd be stupid to leave right now because I just spent a year kind of getting my wings, getting the spokes turning, and now I'm really starting to roll. So I'll probably stick with this job for at least a year or two more, if not longer. And then my angle, I really want to kind of be an entrepreneur, which I know a lot of Southwesterners attempt and go on to
Yeah.
do. I mean, I just turned 25 in October, so I'm at a good age. I have no debt. I'm trying to save up some money and then probably start a business where I want to be able to help people, like kind of like a life coach, but also have a facility where I can help them do like natural healing and like ice
Oh yeah.
baths and like sound healing and things like that. Really just focusing on like their mental health. But that's a little bit down the road. And I know later in this podcast, I'll dive in a little deeper why I want to do something like that.
Well, let's jam. Let's jam there. If you want to talk about it now, we can talk about it now. Fuck it.
No, no, it's fine. It kinda leads from, like, my Southwestern
Oh,
summers.
is it like a ponytail?
Yeah, yeah, it kinda is a ponytail that
Uh,
into, like, my past.
okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
take that. I'm gonna type that on the chat so we remember it because sometimes we get to the end and it's like, wait, what was it that you were gonna say? So I'll put it right here. Mental health. Cool. Hell yeah, man. That's awesome. And then back to this casino thing. Have you gotten any perks from like getting to know the CEOs of like these casinos? Like, do you get like, hey, Paul, come check out our like badass secret multimillionaire lounge poker table. Sit at it, go, or like, I don't anything like that. I just can feel like if you have the right connections in Vegas of all cities, you get some pretty cool perks.
Yeah, no, I love the question. Not really, just because CIOs and directors of IT are somewhat on the nerdier side. Um So there not a lot of them are going clubbing or at a beach club with their shirts off, like, dancing and stuff, but no, there's definitely a lot of hookups and perks with the job because vendors will spend, like, millions and millions of dollars on events, like, we get boxes for Raider games with partnering with, like, Dell or, like, an IBM or something like that. We'll get to go to UFC fights, do expensive dinners on the Strip, and then,
You've
uh
done that?
yeah,
No way, bro. Oh,
yeah,
do you
so that
do you get extra tickets ever?
no, not typically. Yeah, pretty much they'll spend money as long as you're with a customer. So you can't just be lollygagging on your own. You got to be entertaining a customer.
I
Um,
can't just show up and be like, I work with Paul. I I'll hold your backpack. I don't care. Or your laptop, I guess.
hey, maybe down the road I'll hit you up when that opportunity comes. That's funny.
Get me into Formula One. Somebody's got to be doing something for
Yeah,
Formula
no,
One,
we're definitely gonna get a box or partner with someone for a Formula One box. So I'll keep you posted on that.
bro. If you can get me into the paddock,
Well,
if you
it's
can be
crazy because
like,
my company's willing to spend like thousands of dollars on seats, and my boss is like he's trying to just get standing room, and he's on a wait list, and it's like
yeah,
3,500 a
it's
person.
crazy. Yeah, no, it's bananas, bro. Like I've been to both races this year. Shout out Jacob Levine, and Paul and not Paul and Matt and Bella who hosted me while I was in Austin. But if I can make it a trifecta next year by going to all three, my guy, my guy. Let me tell you about it.
Hey, dude, well, I can definitely get you a place to stay.
Hell yeah. So that's
After
hey, you know
dark.
what? That's more than nothing. That's more than nothing, and that's probably more one of the more expensive parts in Vegas for that weekend
Oh,
anyway. but if you get a box, dude, I will. I'll be your emotional support animal. I don't care. I'll dress up as a dog. We go fuck. Let's do it.
I
Oh
love
man, that's awesome, brother. That is so cool. Well, congrats. It sounds like you're crushing, bro. It sounds like you're off in the right direction. You got a girl, you got a job, you got your future plans. Look at you go. And
it.
You're
Yeah,
you're out- you're better off
things
than like
things are rolling.
90% of people.
Yeah, things are rolling, so, uh
That's so that's so fun. This let's jump into some Southwestern stuff because I specifically wanted to talk to you because I know you and I know you have some fun stuff from Southwestern, but generally speaking, I don't really know much about how you got recruited or any of that. I kind of met you like since I met you after my first summer. I just kind of got to know you after we were both done selling books, you know.
yeah,
So let's wind the clocks back. We're talking about 2017, maybe the spring of that year or fall of 2016.
yep.
How the hell did you get recruited into this? Tell us the story. Go for it.
Dude, so I was sitting in a personal finance class, and I'm pretty sure Danny comes in, speaks to the class, and he's like, "Hey guys, we have this cool little internship. You can make like 8 to 10K in a summer. It's really fun. If you want to hear more about it, just fill out this card and come pass it in." And I was like, "Oh, what
Nailed
the
it. Nailed the impression.
I was like, damn, he knows the audience. We're in a personal finance class. Obviously, we want to make money. So I freaking fill out my little card, and then I think I'm just sitting in my apartment or something, or I was living in a fraternity house at the time, and I get a call, and he's like, "Hey, it's Danny Gamboa. Would you like to? You filled out my form. We're having a little info session for this cool internship. You want to come by and like see what it's all about?" And I was like, "Yeah, whatever." So I committed to him. Blah blah blah. Dude, it's so funny after you do Southwestern and just learning the sales tactics and then how they use the same tactics for the recruiting. For like, then he's like, "So you're sure you're gonna be here at 7 p.m.?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm sure I'll be there." Anyway, show up at the meeting, and I think it was Grant doing the intro, and I love Grant to death. He's an awesome person, but Grant, I was like, "Oh, this guy's a little off. Like, there's some weird thing about him for sure."
I know what you mean. You mean that in the best of ways, and everybody who
Yeah, in
knows
the best
Grant's
of
like,
ways. No,
yeah,
I
yeah,
love Grant. He's
fucking
awesome. Like, I
hilarious.
did Bible study at his house, like, quite a few times after Southwestern, in college, but then I believe Danny and Mitch Johnson gave the demo, and I was like, "You know what?" Like, I kinda saw right away, I was like, "Alright, this is just a door-to-door sales internship, like, blah, 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 blah." But something about Danny and Mitch's presence and how they presented themselves in front of that group, I was like, "Whoa, like, I want this." Like, these guys
Oh,
these guys can really just own a room and talk to people and make them want to be a part of whatever they're a part of. And I was like, that's a trait that will get you very far in life. So I'm gonna come back and ride this thing along.
hell yeah. So I got a couple questions on this. This is cool. I just spilled, so I'm tearing up some paper towel here because I spilled this drink on me. I'm being clumsy. Um, dude, I love when people say this. I love when the conversation goes in this direction because here we have a person that's like, money, I'll go check it out. And then within an hour or less, you see something that money can't buy, that only
Yeah,
experience can really get you. And you
definitely.
go, fuck the money. What's that?
Yep, exactly.
Why why do you feel like you wanted that so bad?
Because I think Mitch might have said this in the freaking thing. I think he's like, the one word that describes me is like influence. Like, I want to influence people and like be an influence to this world and impact this world. And I was like, dude, that's exactly what I want to do. I want to develop some of these traits, some of these skills, and be able to influence people better than I do right now.
Dude, that's super cool. And you obviously do you feel like you've always craved that or is that something that kind of struck you at that moment? You're like, whoa, that'd be kind of cool.
It was definitely good timing, because I've always been good at getting along with people, but at that time, I was in a rough position in my life, like, I went to college with a girlfriend, and, like, her father had passed away, like, right before I went off to college, and we were like together for a year and a half. So she had just we kind of just broke up. So I was really like kind of down on myself, not feeling good about myself, just getting drunk every night, eating fast food, like kind of just being a piece of shit. And then it almost like that meeting kind of clicked for me. Is like, all right, this will help get me back up on my feet. Um, Even though this is crazy, what I'm thinking about doing is
Yeah,
working 70 hours a week for 3 months.
that's wild. I didn't know that about you. I didn't know that you were going through some shit. Damn,
Oh
sorry to hear
yeah,
that, dude.
big time. Yeah, no, and it played into my summer a little bit too, which was unfortunate. But
Really? How so?
so I got back with her before I went out to sell.
Oh,
Yeah,
Paul,
I
Paul, Paul,
know.
Paul, Paul.
Terrible idea, dude. And she was in Vegas. I was in Nebraska, so it was already a tough
No.
situation. And we got back together long distance. Yeah, so
Yikes. While you're in college. That's wow. At least you got commitment, you know. At least we knew you weren't you knew you had the commitment to go through the whole summer. God damn.
no, we didn't make it the whole summer, dude.
I mean, just at least sell books. You had the commitment to go sell
Oh
books.
yeah, 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 for sure. I was like, my mom was all for it.
Bro.
My mom was like, yeah, you need to. My mom kind of wanted me to go just so I'd break up with her because she knew it wasn't gonna work like long term. So
Wow, she's no longer with us. That late that your ex-girlfriend. Go
mm,
mom. Your
I
mom's
got
badass.
my new awesome girlfriend. So
That's right. That Mexi lady. That she's
yeah.
awesome. That Mexicana. Dude, Latinos are wild. Good for you. You got my mom is like not wild, like not I mean wild in a bad way. They're just like very intense. They're just so passionate people. They're Hispanics in general. We're just very passionate people. So it's like,
Mm,
holy shit. Oh man, dude. So you this what part of the year was this? Was this spring of wait? Was this spring of 2017 or did you get a long time to prepare?
I think it would the meeting was in like fall, and then
Oh,
I
so
kind
you had
of
oh I see.
and then I think I took like 2 or 3 weeks off because I went back to Vegas for Christmas break, whatever. And then like I started doing my one-on-ones with Danny like beginning of spring.
Nice.
Yeah.
And your folks were mostly about it, or I mean, you said your mom was like they were like, "Fuck yeah, go for it, go be that man."
Yeah, my mom was all for it because she's a badass saleswoman. She's in pharma sales and she's made her whole career doing
Yo,
pharma sales. Yeah. And she's actually of Latin descent too. So like she back when she started, like there was a ton of discrimination against like race, women, but my mom's like has no fear talking or standing up or making a point whenever she needs to. And so she was all for it. She thought it'd be really good for me. And my dad was a little bit iffy. He was like, "Oh, are you sure you want to do this?" Blah blah blah. But he was definitely supportive in the end too. But it's funny because Grant, on the final interview, I told him, he's like, "What's your current address here in Lincoln?" And I give him my address. He's like, "Are you in Delta Tau Delta?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I used to live there." He's like, and then I found out he was an alumni of the same fraternity, so it was cool.
yeah, dude, Grant's a beast. That it goes a long way having that connection for sure. Damn, dude, that's sweet. So you get back to your with your girl. You're like, let's do this again, Jacinda or whatever her name is, and we'll call her Chloe. Let's get back. Let's get back. Is her actual name Chloe? Imagine. No, no, you don't have to tell me her name. Chloe, let's get back together. You guys get back together, and off you go in your little car to Nashville, Tennessee. Uh, and then you bump into sales school like a freaking wall. How was that for you?
Dude, this is really cool. I hope you remember this, man, because I finished sales school and it was definitely intense. Like me and a lot of my roommates were like, "Oh shit!" Like some of this stuff is a little crazy. Like doing the execs and doing getting trying to dive in, doing the cold showers. I was like, "Ah, this is a little sketch." Like one buddy's like looking at me and he's like, "Dude,
The
this is."
fucking Colts.
He's like, "This seems kind of cultish." I was like, "Oh fuck!" Like I was like, "It's probably just their tactics. You got to be crazy to get through a whole summer." So I sit down with Grant at the end of sales school, and he's like, "All right, guys, doesn't he have you like put in $1 or something?" I forget what he did, but he's like, "This is your last chance to turn back. Like, if this is your last chance, are you guys ready to go or not?" We all end up saying, "Yeah, we're ready to go." We take off from Nashville. I think we were driving for maybe like a half an hour, and then we stopped for gas or like a rest stop for some reason. And we were using Voxer. I don't know. Do you remember the app
Yeah, oh,
Voxer?
yeah.
You just
Oh,
send
yeah.
like walkie-talkie messages.
It's like radio conversation, but an app. Yeah,
Yeah.
and they stick
Uh,
around. They're
yep.
permanent, so you can replay them, yeah, for people who might not know what Voxer is. It's a great way to communicate, really, but
Yeah. So that was the app at the time, and Southwestern was using it for all the first years. And we're Voxing while we're driving on the way to Connecticut was our home turf. And something just hits me, dude, because if I didn't do Southwestern, I would have came back and worked as a kids camp counselor with my ex-girlfriend for the whole summer. And then all of
whoa.
a sudden, like driving out of Nashville, I was like, fuck this, dude. Like, I don't want to do this. So I'm like on Boxer. I'm like, hey guys, I think I'm bailing. And I called Danny
To the whole group?
to the whole group. I was literally like, yeah, I think
Oh, no, I do
guys, I
not
think I'm
remember this. What
bailing.
are you talking
No,
about?
yeah, I think Danny got on me. He's
You're
like, whoa,
telling
whoa,
me
whoa,
all
whoa.
of the 4 first years, and you come on the radio an hour after you leave Nashville. You're like, "I'm quitting."
Dude.
That's unheard of.
And I think Danny gets on top of it too. He's like, he calls me like instantly. He's like, "Hey man, like, what's going on?" He's like, "You don't need to be boxing the whole chat." But no, I'm just kidding.
Holy
Danny was
shit.
like, I was like, dude, I was like, he's like, "What's happening?" I was like, dude, I can't do this. There's no way I'm gonna do this. I think I'm gonna turn around and drive back to Vegas. Danny's like, dude, calm down, keep driving. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to call my brother Andres.
I
So,
don't remember this at all, dude.
dude, yes.
It's gonna ring a bell in a second. Keep going, I'm
That's
sorry.
what I'm saying. I hope you remember this because he's like, I need you to call my brother Andres. He's like, you remember him? He did like one little demo like earlier back talking about his experience. And I was like, yeah, I remember your brother. He's like, call him, talk to him. If he doesn't change your mind, then go ahead and turn back and go back to Vegas. So I was like, all right. So I think I call you while I'm driving, and you and Danny Gamboa are the only two motherfuckers who could get me to go on this to do this for the summer. So I commend you both for whatever motivational bullshit you pulled out of your ass. And said something like, you're like, dude, I was thinking super emotionally. You sat me down, made me think logically. You're like, dude, there's going to be one kid out there that you're going to make their freaking day, or you're going to have a moment where you're out there in the summer and you're going to be like, damn, this was the right decision. Like, and you're going to know why you did it. Like, you may not see it right now, blah, 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 but that moment's going to happen and you're going to regret it if you turn back right now. Like, you've already went through sales school. Like, just give it a go, dude. It's 3 months of your life. It's really not that long. And then you're like, here, I want you to do something. Look at what mile marker you're at right now, and I was at mile 118, and you're like,
I do remember this now.
I
Yes,
want
I
you to
do.
write that on an index card, 118, put it on your car, and I want you to call me when you're at mile marker 118 on the way back from, selling this summer." And I was like, "All right, I'll fucking do it." And dude, I kept that 118 on my car the whole summer, and I called your ass on the way back, and I was like,
That's
"Oh, yeah,
right.
118, I fucking made it, you motherfucker." And I was like, "I did it." And I think you didn't answer. I think I left you a voicemail and you come back, like, you call me like 5 minutes later. You're like, dude, so how was it? And I was like, dude, I'm so thankful, man. I'm really glad I did the internship.
Whoa, let's go, dude. That's so fucking awesome. Oh, I love that. Oh, that's
Yeah.
so cool. I do remember because you know why I remember 118? Because 1118 is when I had my heart surgery, and I remember that connection. There was like a connection to 118. I was like, 11, it's 1118, but 118 is close enough. And I'm like, all right, 118. And I do remember I remember telling you, write that shit down. You put it on your steering wheel. So you
Yeah,
put it on your
right.
steering
Yeah, I
wheel.
put it right by the steering wheel. Yep, taped it on an
Or
index
yeah, like
card.
next
Yep.
to the right where you see it every day. That's awesome. And then I do remember that phone call. I probably have that voicemail somewhere.
Yeah, maybe. Dude,
It's
that
gotta
was
be somewhere.
it was amazing, dude, and I remember you. tell me, you're like, dude, there's no better feeling in the world than looking someone in the eye, shaking their hand, telling them you're gonna do something, and then doing it. And like that stuck with me for a long time. And I shared that with one of my best friends. He's like, "Wow, that's such a cool thing to say," because this generation, as most people well see who didn't do
Oh,
Southwestern, they have no commitment. They can't commit to anything. If they don't like it for a second, they just quit and they just find
yeah.
something else. It's sad.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. That's an interesting tangent really quick to go on because especially with our because you just turned 25, so we're not too far apart in age, but our generation and the generation just right below us, that is something that is happening. Like I think that I mean there's clinical depression, and there's a lot of it, and we'll get to that probably given your what you want to talk about. But I think just as important is this lack of ability to hold people accountable to the commitments that they make that are not going to be harmful. So, for example, I mean, I understand like if you're in a toxic relationship, you need to break that commitment, break that shit. If you're in a situation that's not good work environment, that's really unhealthy, break that shit. But that's not what we're talking about. And that's really not what Southwestern's like either. It's not unhealthy, it's tough, which is a
Mhm.
fine line, but it gets blurry, sure, but at the end of the day, you look back and it's like nothing. It's just it's just a sales job that you did in college.
Yep.
And when it comes to other simpler things, like just showing up on time or just being able to say I'll be there that day at that time, even if it's not, even if you're late, but just even showing up. I was one of my best friends, Hector. um my mom, this is sorry for this tangent, but
No,
I
you
just want to
good, man.
highlight this. I just want to give some praise and credit where credit is due. I have a buddy named Hector who sometimes he listens to the show, but my mom had this like really funny like juxtaposition of him because a long time ago we were in our soccer team. Long story short, the coach was an asshole to me, and we ended up like not. I had to like I finished the season, but I didn't try out the next year.
Mhm.
And my mom always felt like not enough people stood up for what I was standing up for against the coach, and she
Yeah.
thought Hector was one of these people. And she was like, I mean, he's a great dude, and all those guys are great guys, but nobody really like stuck up for you. I'm like, maybe, but he was young. My buddy Hector, my going away show in Nebraska, all of the times that I've had merch to sell for the podcast, he listens to the show. He goes to all of the things that I invite people to. He's there. He came to my wedding. Like he just shows up, and just the fucking ability to just show up is so
Oh,
lost. I
it's so
feel
rare.
like to our youth that
Yeah.
like it's so rare that it's extremely valuable. You know what I'm
It's so
saying?
yeah. No, you're hitting the nail on the head, dude. And even like Danny, because I remember telling you that and you making that statement to me. And Danny, when he was recruiting me to go out, he's like, Paul, if you do this summer with me and live in the HQ with me, like you're gonna be at my wedding. And I always
Yeah.
remember that. And then his wedding was coming up, and I was like, Danny, I'm coming to the wedding. Like, where's the invite? He's like, you're fucking right. You're coming to the wedding. Flash
Great wedding.
forward flash forward to the wedding, and I'm sitting in Vail, Colorado. We're smoking the freaking doobie, and you're like, "Why the fuck is Paul Stevens next to my grandma?" Like, what the fuck is going on right now, dude?
dude, dude, that night was all fun for a lot of reasons. We got to tell the hot tub story because we got it from Andrew Williamson as well. But the hot tub
Oh,
story
what?
is worth
Andrew
telling from your
Williamson,
perspective.
bro, I don't know what happened to him on that trip, dude.
He's great. Uh, it was for context. It was just that I was just pointing out the craziness of what weddings are because, like, in what world would Paul Stevens, who sold books, from Las Vegas, be standing back to back because we were like eating food back to back with my grandma, like from Colombia, like Cucuta, like what
And
the
you were
fuck?
like,
It's,
"Hey," you were like, "What?"
and we Danny greeted everyone with like edibles. We weren't smoking a doobie in front of my grandma. She would have this just
Oh,
she would
no,
have
the
hit
your
me with
grandma
she would
wasn't
have hit
there.
me with
It was later
she would have
in
hit me
life,
with a
like
chancla. Danny left some edibles for everybody who was at the wedding. He left edibles on their pillow when they arrived to Vail, and so we all like took some. And I'm sitting there like kind of like blitzed out of my mind. Danny's a little high too. We're all kind of like we're hungry for this pizza that we just ordered, and I'm just looking at this picture, and it's literally like it's like my dad, Paul Stevens, Grant fucking Greeter, right? My grandma and like Danny's soccer buddies just sitting there like what the
Oh
in
my
what world?
dude,
Except
yeah.
for a wedding. That's how wild that was. Well,
Mhm.
yeah, dude. That
But
you
no,
made
but
it.
back to the point, like, it's just crazy how just showing up and being a man of your word is just lost right now.
It's crazy. Or a woman of your word or whatever the fuck. But like a
Totally,
person that
yeah.
says, hey, if a person says, hey, what is it, November 17th? Or whatever, November 15th, I'll be there. I'll be there. And you can go, great. Is there a sadder? I mean, there's sad things in the world. Is there? But I think it's pretty sad. Or maybe the question is, how sad is it when you have to say this to someone, or someone said this about you? You know, I'd invite you, but I don't know if you. They'll probably never come.
Mhm.
Or if you said, oh, they said they're coming, but it's Paul. Who knows? Like, how shitty is it to be known as that person?
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. Unless you give off that persona where you're just like, I don't give a fuck about anyone except like the people that matter to me, like then it's not a big deal. But like some people, like I hate just like in Southwestern where you're taught, I hate the people who say, "Oh, maybe I'll be there," or "I'll try to be
Yeah,
there." Like, don't say "I'll try," just say, "I don't wanna come," or "I do wanna come." I respect you more if you tell me, "Yeah, I'm not
yeah,
going," than saying, "I'll try to be there," and just which means no.
yeah, yeah. Like, or even when they go, probably not. I won't. I can't make it. I'm sorry. You're like,
Dude, I
I
love it when
respect
people
that.
say that. I laugh so hard when people are like, "Yeah, I'm not coming," or like, "Probably not," and, like, it's just like,
That's
"Thank you
even
for
better.
being blunt."
I'll let you know. Fuck you. Go take your let you know, shove it up your ass, set up camp, and go away. Don't come. Never
Dude, what's
mind.
the highest fuck count on this podcast?
I think we got to like 110 with Mitch Johnson.
Oh, okay. Good, good. I don't wanna I don't wanna be known for that.
Oh, that's okay. It's just more of a funny it's a way to reward people who are watching. Most people are listening, so they have no idea what we're talking about right now. But if you're
Yeah.
watching, there's a fuck counter every time we say fuck. Hero, hero, off schedule moment. Wanted to tell you about Southwestern Real Estate. They're 99% drama free, only 99, not 99.9. So it's a bit spicy, kind of like this episode. Anyway, they will learn you to kick ass at real estate. So make sure you guys click the link below, get in touch with them. Okay, back to work. Bye. What up, everyone? Off schedule story, really quick. The average agent at Cardinal Cedar Benefits earns about 5K per week. It's pretty badass. So, on that note, comes up and counts for both of us. I think we're at 14 or something. Maybe we missed a couple, but
Yeah.
um, anyway, man. So that's great. So 1-8. So let's go back. Sorry, big tangent there. Go back. So you get off the phone with me. Which thank you for reminding me of that story. That's awesome. I'm glad that that was something that
Oh,
um
dude, you were a
was
big factor to me finishing that summer, so thank you.
I know. I thank you for letting me. It's funny that you never know. For people listening, and even for you, like when you sell books, that it makes a difference in some way, or shape, or another, right? To people, right? Um, whether you recruited them or whether you try to recruit, or you just did like yourself, we just did one summer. You were a difference in a lot of people's lives. Did you? Maybe this is a ponytail, but did you meet that family that I was talking about, where like you were gonna be like, this is why I came here? Did you ever end up meeting that family? Do you
Yeah,
remember?
definitely. I had a lot of cool families that I really connected with and, like, really felt that God brought me there for a reason to talk to in their time of need, and, whether they ended up being a customer or not, like, there are multiple situations where I felt needed throughout that summer where I was in the right place at the right time. But there was one major instance, and it's a pretty wild story that I told Danny that I will save for the ponytails. But
So now
I
we got two.
definitely had that
Okay,
moment you talked about. Yeah.
put that on the chat so we can remember, so you can trigger your brain to remember. Um, so I don't even know. I'll put significant why I came out. Okay. Um, hell yeah. So you okay? So we get off the phone. You're like, fuck it, I'm gonna do this. You get in your car. You're out the door, back out of the gas station. Did you have your HQ set up and all that jazz? Is that Nothing. So you're in
If I
Connecticut.
could give you, like, a red flags about a summer, it was my summer, bro. We show up, we go to this church, Danny makes an announcement at church. He's like, "Yeah, guys, we're kinda homeless for the summer. If you guys have a little spare bedroom we could use," and I'm like, "What the Fu fucking Grant said we had places all booked up with alumni, like, what is going on here?" But it's funny, I live in a frat house, so I was like, "I could sleep anywhere, like, I don't give a shit," like, girls, I would've been concerned about it, and been like, "This is sketch if I'm a girl and have no idea where I'm sleeping, gonna be sleeping with strangers." But for me, I didn't really care about that, I thought it was more funny, but Danny's making an announcement at church. We end up Some lady comes up to us at the end and she's like, she has this New York accent and she's like, "Hey, yeah, you guys can stay in my garage. Like my mom just died like 3 months ago. We had her like locked up there, but we could probably house you guys for a couple months and it should work out." And we end up getting a place to stay that night, and we're in a on top of a garage. It was like this little HQ setup over a garage. It had like 3 beds, like a pull-out couch and like a blow-up mattress. And the lady came down, had us for dinner that night, and she's like, you guys lick off my dinner plate. Your family now. You guys are all family. I love you. Thank you for being here." So for the rest of the summer, like we were just joking around. We're like, "You want to lick my dinner plate and be part of my family?" But she was like the sweetest lady. Her name was Barb, and her husband was Davy, and it ended up being a cool HQ. But yeah, no, that was I was thinking because I was saying why. Oh, the other part about my summer, I think we had 15 first years. Me,
Mm.
Seth, and Justin Weeblehouse were the only three that finished the summer.
Out of the 15?
So it was literally, Andres, like, every single
No
day was like,
way.
"Who's gone this week?" Like, "Who's gone?" It was like, and another one, "Pass the dust." So it was literally just who could and I remember it was, like, midway through the summer, and Justin had a 0 week, like, not just a 0 day, a 0 week, and I was like, "Oh, no, Justin's gone, like, not
He's about to
Justin,
bite
this
it.
freaking man," and he comes back and ends up having a killer second half of the summer. Obviously, he's still selling to this day and making a killing. So,
He just finished. He just finished his last summer.
oh, he's done.
Yeah. Yeah, he
Oh,
was at my
okay,
house
yeah,
here. He was driving through with his wife, his now wife, Crystal.
Crystal, yeah,
Yeah, and
awesome.
they driving to he's hitting it hard with the VR. He's actually gonna be on the show probably during season 8 or 9 going forward. But yeah, I just was hanging out with them like a month ago. They're awesome. Shout out to Justin.
That's amazing. Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
love
dude. Seth Hood also. What
my first year
like
was
whatever
Seth
his name.
Hood's first year, dude, and that motherfucker was crazy in the HQ. So we called him the monkey because he'd wake up at like 5:30 every day with an alarm blasting. And I remember me and Colin Appel would just be like, "Seth, turn your fucking alarm off. We have like 20 more minutes to sleep, dude." And he starts doing freaking sit-ups and push-ups, pull-ups, shoves like a banana in his mouth, eats like 12 eggs, like raw eggs, and freaking refuses to eat at the breakfast spot. He's like, "I can't be wasting money like that, man. Like, I gotta get my calories in here." So he would spend like $100 on grocery a week when the rest of us were spending like 20 to 30. Seth was definitely an interesting HQ mate, especially his first summer, but he was awesome to have as a roommate, super motivational and always kicking ass.
Bro, Seth Hood. Shout out to Elevate Wellness on this show. They're one of our sponsors. Oh man, love them lots.
I
Dude,
just caught
that
up with
is
Seth.
so
He had a
fun.
layover in Vegas and he told me about the whole Elevate Wellness thing, and we had a pretty good chat about like mental, physical
Yeah,
well-being and
dude.
health stuff.
He's he's crushing. If you guys want to get bumpy like Seth, give him a call. He's awesome. Oh man, Seth Hood, Colin Appel. We've also had Colin on the show. He told us. I don't know if it was your summer or the summer before, but there was the Nat story. I
Oh,
don't know if you ever told. Was that
spontaneous
you?
combustion.
Oh no, what is that one?
Wait,
Is it the
what is
same
the gnat
story?
story? Where someone
Yeah,
left, like, something in the pantry since, like,
yeah,
week 1?
yeah.
Yep, 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 so
Oh, dude, we need the story from your perspective. Colin told this to us, and then so did Seth. But it's like
that's
every
so
different person
funny,
has been
dude.
a fucking hilarious story.
Dude, so some idiot, dude, left a whole thing of bananas in the pantry from week 1,
Now,
and
here's
this
the
is
thing. Hold
okay.
on, pause there. Here's the thing, because everybody has said that somebody else left the banana. So one of y'all had to do it. It was either you, Danny, Seth, or Colin, right? Like,
Well, here's the thing, dude, so many people dropped my freshman year, we ended up just blaming it on the guys who dropped. Because it started with me, Danny, and 2 other first years, and it ended with me, Danny, Seth, and Colin. So, we were just like, one of
I've
those
been to
idiots
that.
left the bananas.
Oh, oh no, I wasn't at that HQ. Okay, so okay, sorry. So some idiot left some
Some
bananas.
idiot left a whole thing of bananas just in this random pantry shelf, like, clear up top that no one ever went into the rest of the summer. We're going on, like, week 10, week 13, and Barb, the HQ mom, like, sends Danny a text and be like, "Hey, people have been, like, getting a weird, like, smell, like, when we go up there, we smell some really weird stuff, like, what are you guys doing up there? Like, are you taking care of it?" Like, we're like thinking like, "Oh my god, poor Barb probably thinks we're doing some like Jeffrey Dahmer shit or something." Like, she has no idea who we are, but
I just want to take some pictures. Relax. I just want to take some pictures.
and we finally, like, start tracking it down. We open a cabinet and just maggots and gnats and freaking mold and shit's just all over this cabinet, and it was absolutely disgusting, like, and Danny started blaming Seth, and Seth started playing Danny, and it was a whole thing, so we were, like, sitting at breakfast the next day, we're like, "Dude, what's it called? Like, spontaneous combustion when like the Louis Pasteur experiment or whatever, or, like, it was spontaneous generation, how, like, maggots just form out of nothing, and, like, we just made a funny joke out of that at our breakfast
Oh, dude.
for the following week, but
So crazy. Colin said that it looked like a fog, like you couldn't see clearly across the room.
it was gross, it was gross.
Oh my god. So how did you guys fix this? You guys use like a jar? Like what happened? What did you guys do?
I don't I think someone took, like, a plastic grocery bag and just wrapped around it and threw it out, and then we had to use, like, spray chemicals to wipe it down and stuff, but
Right, but the gnats, how did you collect the gnats? That's insane.
oh, dude, the Nats just were our extra roommates the rest of the summer.
You guys had 6 million extra roommates. Talk
Oh,
about a power
dude.
HQ. Fucking what?
Dude, Connecticut was crazy, man. I don't know, like, hopefully there's some listeners who are from the East, and I don't know if this is like a yearly thing, but or every 4 years, but the summer I sold, there were these crazy caterpillars just infested everywhere. Like every door you went to, there were these caterpillars. And
What?
I'm feeling these like drops on my head like throughout the summer. And I'm like, oh, it's like Connecticut. I'm in the East. It's probably just drizzling like a lot of the time. And then I'm at this lady's door and I was like, she's like, "Oh, you got some caterpillar shit on you." And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "Yeah, these caterpillars are pooping out of the trees. And they literally feel like little tiny drops just dripping on your head." So I think I'm
No
calling my mom
way.
that night and I was like, telling her, I was like, "Mom, I'm getting shit on and I'm literally getting shit on by these caterpillars."
Oh my god.
Yeah, it
Look
was
it up.
pretty nasty. It died out after,
Oh,
like, May or, like, mid-June, it died out, but because they morphed into butterflies or whatever, but crazy.
the spongy moth. The spongy moth in Connecticut, an overview. This is an actual thing, bro. The spongy moth has been formally adopted as a new common name for the moth species, and it looks like a caterpillar. Known for the damage it does to trees, not native to North America. Uh
It
Whoa, and
decimated
then by the end of June it goes away, but it just destroys everything.
Yeah, no, it was eating everything. It was crazy. Poop droplets everywhere.
Whoa, holy shit, it's right here. Look at this. This is crazy. I'm not sharing screen, but that's wild, dude. The more you know. Have you ever
Yeah.
been shit on by a caterpillar? Answer: yes. You should put that on those one of those like two truths and a lie whenever you have to do an icebreaker. Like, I've
Yeah.
been shit on by a caterpillar hundreds of times.
That'd
And
be a
people be
good one.
like, what the fuck? What's this guy talking about? That's so wild, dude. Do you remember your first customer or your first store?
Yeah, I do. I remember my first customer. I think, it was a follow day with Liz Schaefer. Have you
Schaefer.
met her on yet?
Oh no, I need to call Liz. What is she
She's awesome,
doing?
dude. I love
You
Liz.
text you text Liz and tell her to get on the show.
Liz was so
Damn it.
funny. I remember
She's
I'm
married
following
too.
her. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that's so cool. I was following her one day and like this giant Labrador just comes up and licks her right in the genitals and she's like, "Take me to dinner first."
No way.
And I literally start like belly laughing on this dude's
That would
but
be something Liz says though. She's so funny.
she was such the homie though because she had a 0 day and the one customer that bought was the customer she let me knock on the door for. And I was flipping through my stuff. It was this cute little girl. She's like 7 years old. Her name was like Valentina, and they ended up buying the core four to get her all the way through like first grade to high school. And I was like just so happy because I think I was like a week and a half in. I hadn't sold anything, so yeah, it was a cool experience. And bringing that book back to that girl and that mom was really cool.
That's sweet. So that was your first customer was a follow day?
Yep,
Damn.
I
Were you
know.
scared shitless or what?
Yeah, I was. I was like, how do I work this an iPad? Like, get these people signed up.
Bro, now you were selling with iPads. That was the first year you guys started using iPads. That's right.
Sales Rabbit, dude. I don't know how you guys did it with maps, drawn out map.
Honestly, it's an art form. It really is. I get
And
the advantage of Sales Rabbit from the like pre-approach that you could get from it. The just everything's in one place. But there's something about writing down where you've been that really gives you like. I mean, I threw them all away now, which regrettably because now that we do this, it'd be great to just have them. But
yeah,
I had like stacks and stacks of notepads of just maps. And I could go back and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this family. Like, I mean, it was just a cool way to remember people. I wish I still had them. Good times.
wow,
But yeah, dude,
that's crazy. I have a
that was
terrible sense
great.
of direction. Like, I even had Sales Rabbit. I knocked on this dude's door like 5 times. He's like, "You fucking come back here again. I'm fucking calling the cops and I'm gonna beat your ass. You're gonna regret it."
Yes, sir.
I was like, triple X house on this one, like code red, do not knock.
Don't go here. Nuclear.
Yeah,
It's funny after you have your first customer, you're like, oh my God, this worked. Like, I can't believe this shit's real.
yeah, for real.
How wild, dude. How did you know well, I guess before I get to that, how did the rest of the summer go? Did you I mean, you stuck around, which is more than anybody. Already talked about this, showing up 3 to 15 people,
Yeah,
and if you point to those 2 other guys and yourself, you can certainly look back and said, "You guys are studs. You
mhm,
guys are doing great things. You guys are crushing in, respectively what you're doing." So, it goes to show what that quality can do, for you in
definitely,
life. So it's a
100.
good point to, full circle there. But how did the rest of the summer go? Did you feel like you crushed it in sales? Did you get what you wanted out of the summer? Or how did you feel like it like looking back now, 5 years later, how do you feel?
So, dude, what I fucked up with my summer. I got everything I wanted to out of the summer. I wasn't too worried about making too much money. Obviously, like if I killed it, awesome. I didn't listen to a lot of the rules, and with Southwestern, it's like they tell you shit where you're like, do I really need to do that? Like, and like I remember Grant playing at sales school was like the Mr. Miyagi having the Karate Kid fucking paint the walls, and he's like, sometimes you're gonna be doing shit and questioning why we're telling you to do it, but it's all gonna pay off like in the end. And curiosity got the best of me. I'm sure it gets the best of most people in their first summer. For me, sadly, it was my only summer. But So I downloaded Instagram halfway through the summer. I
There it
just
is.
blossfed. I just blossfed. Literally had the best week
Oh,
ever. I had like 17 sit downs on a Saturday. I think this is Sunday night coming back from grocery shopping. And I download Instagram and I check my ex-girlfriend's page, and she's literally posted a picture with some dude at a wedding who she had hooked up with back in December that she said she was, like, over, and, like, it just ripped my fucking heart out,
oh,
dude. I was, like, so sad. I, like, punched the
no.
steering wheel, started screaming, dude, and then if I would've just let that shit go for the rest of the summer, I probably would've had a way better second half of my summer. Obviously, I still had a good time, like, everything, but
Yeah.
dude, you know that post breakup mode, you're just all sulking and depressed, and you're like, "Oh, why does this have to be me? Like, she loved me," like that kind of thing. So that fucked me up.
Fuck, dude. Hold on. Let's back up because I feel like I haven't had a breakup midsummer story in a while. She posted with the she so has she been cheating on you? Or she just
No,
happened to go
we
as
were
her
off and
friend?
on. We were off and on, and she lied to me about getting with someone.
Oh
Blah blah blah. We
no.
get back together before the summer. 2 weeks in, she's like, "This isn't working,"
Oh,
and
so you guys were broken up at this point when you saw this
yeah,
picture. I see, I see. Okay, that's
yeah,
what I missed. Okay.
definitely, yeah.
I thought this was like we were still dating. I was like, fuck, that's even that's like extra heavy. So you guys, you went through a breakup week too, bro.
Yep. Mhm.
Bro, no wonder you were off to a tough start,
Yeah.
relatively
Uh,
to your roommates, probably.
yeah, that
Wow.
Yeah, that wasn't the best, but no, I learned a lot from that breakup, and
Yeah, I mean, it's you're better off.
yeah,
That's why people don't see that, right through through the middle of it, which I don't blame them. It's tough. Heartbreak is a hard thing, but damn, dude, that honestly, your girlfriend's like, hell yeah, her loss. Take that, bitch.
that's funny.
Or she might say, take that, puta. Let's go, bro. That's
Love it.
so good. Well, I'm happy for you that I mean, I'm not happy that that happened. Sorry that happened. That's tough. But at the same time, that might have been the best thing that happened to you that summer,
Yeah, no, for
you
sure.
know? In
Mhm.
a weird way. This too shall pass, right? I mean, it's like a and
Dude,
it's probably middle of summer. It's that week that you're reading that scroll.
yeah, I read that scroll, yep, and that definitely was, like, a good scroll for me at the time. So, yeah, that phrase, "This too shall pass, I'll laugh at the world," was really needed when that scroll came up during the summer. Dude,
Yeah, dude.
here, let me give the
There it is.
audience a
Oh,
look.
no. Our we got to PG-13 rated. Let's go. Oh, dude, that's I'm happy for you though, in a way. I'm happy for you.
Thanks,
Um,
brother.
and then you get done with delivery
This
school.
this is
How
what?
did you know
Yeah.
how did you know you didn't want to come back?
Um, funny that ties in back to my ponytail at the end.
Cool. Fuck yeah, dude. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do this. We're gonna do a quick round of rapid fire questions, and then we'll jump into these ponytails. You got two, at least. I know that you got two, right? You got
Oh,
the
ponytails?
yeah, you got two ponytails.
Yeah, dude, I got a bunch of ponytails.
This is gonna be the long part of the episode. Fuck yeah, let's go. um,
Nah, it shouldn't take too long, but
okay, let's see here. Let me find. Okay, so we're gonna do some rapid fire, and then we'll go into have. I mean, you can do. Some people do like several little ones, or several long ones, or one big ass one. So I know you got two big ones. So definitely want to give you space to give and share those in detail because those are the ones that are really fun when it comes to like just sharing some stories.
uh-huh.
But here's the rapid fire questions right here. Okay, here we go. Okay, as far as for your summer selling books, what was your favorite kind of turf when you were when you were selling? Was it country, big brick, trailer parks? Like, what was your favorite turf?
I think Big Brick, and
Yeah.
this is gonna sound kind of
Nah.
self-conceited, but it's because I grew up in that environment, I felt like I could relate more.
Oh
Um,
yeah, man.
like, I
Your
I had
mom.
a very blessed childhood, I went to a private school, like, a lot of my friends are, like, a lot better off, or their families are a lot better off than mine, so Big Brick, it was like, I got some good sales for sure, and then in Connecticut, like, those people pay so much taxes, it's they gotta really make a lot of money to afford some of those houses.
Yeah, dude. And it's a, I mean, it's a highly educated area, so it's not, it's doesn't have a ton of poverty, Connecticut, or just
I
really the
think, like,
New England area. But
top 5, top 10 education in the
yeah, it's like
state,
Massachusetts,
so
them, and like Delaware, right, or whatever. It's like
mhm.
fucking. I mean, all the big universities and stuff are in that area: Boston, Massachusetts, and Connecticut area, Hartford. Um, I mean,
I got a
Utah is such
Pauly and a Big
you.
Brick too, so they, like, bought the whole core 4 and, like, I think
Oh,
books,
let's
yeah,
go.
like, so
The
I was
pony. That's a good pony story too.
yeah.
Um. Oh yeah. Okay. So that's your favorite territory. Cool. Your favorite advanced sales tape.
Favorite advanced sales tape? Ooh. The one with Dan Moore has one, right?
Yeah.
I think I like the Dan Moore one where it's like, "It's the boss of a morning, it's the boss of a day." Dan just has such a calm, smoothing voice, dude. I went to one of his seminars and he, like, recommended this book called Man's Search for Meaning, and he's like, "This changed my life during my Southwestern experience. You gotta read this book." And I read the book. It's a very good book. So please read the book Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl.
Let's go. Also, while you're at it, pick up The Cost of Citizenship by Andres Gamboa if you get a chance.
Ooh, I'll have to pick
Yeah.
that up.
Oh, you. Oh, yeah. Sure. Yeah, dude. It's on Amazon. Go
That's
check
your
it out.
book?
I don't. Yeah, that's my book. I don't normally
Okay,
promote it on here, but since we were talking about it, I just threw it in there.
sweet.
Um. Okay. Next question. Well, you have you just told us a little bit about the Core Four, but did you have a favorite specific product you'd like to sell, like a cookbook or the kids' books, the Core Four, the CEA? Was there anything that you were like, this is my favorite thing to sell?
Yeah, probably the Ask Me Wise or the Explore and Learns because it's just easy to grab those kids' attention and like, check this out, man. So,
Yeah, dude,
I love
those are
kids,
fun.
dude, I love kids. If I get in a very comfortable financial position later in life, I'm gonna work with kids in some way, so
That's awesome, bro.
they're just so cute and so curious and so innocent, I love
Dude, I am the opposite, but I commend you for your
'em.
boldness in enjoying
Thank
children.
you.
Your best sales day, different than your favorite sales day. Best sales
Mm,
day.
dude, I
I don't,
think it
and
was
not, I don't give a shit about units. If you can share the units if you want to. I'm more talking about like what was that day like? What? How did you feel? How did it go?
oh, it was that day in midsummer when I bosswood, and I got 17 sit downs, I think 6 or 7 sales, and it felt like I didn't
Damn.
work. Like, I was just talking to people and having cool conversations with them the whole time, and it wasn't like a sit down where you're just in there, you fumble through your friggin' script and your books and you're out, like, it was people who, like, if they didn't buy, we, like, had a good chat, like, talking about life and, like, my future, what I was doing, like, so many people when you're out there selling are just like, I commend you for being out here, dude. Like, this is
Yeah.
amazing that you have the balls to like come up to my door. I remember meeting this sales exec and he's like, you could have sent me fucking 50 pamphlets, called my phone 100 times, and I would have never listened to anything or ever got back to you. But the fact that you're here on my property face to face, like, I respect this. And he tried to give me a sit down with his son and his wife, but his son was like already a junior and a senior or something. So it didn't end up working out. But
Bro, right there, right there. I mean, I feel like that's been the theme of this episode is just the value of fucking showing up.
yes, sir.
That's what he said. You showed up to my door, and so I'm about it. And I give you respect, sir, because you showed up to my fucking door. You know what I'm saying? Great stuff. And then your what was the name of your breakfast spot? And what did you have for breakfast? What did
Oh
you eat for
no,
breakfast?
dude. Stop, bro. You're twisting my memory too far back. I forget the name, dude, but it was right by this place called Frog Bridge. You can Google Frog Bridge. Or oh, another red flag was our host city was called Willimantic, Connecticut, or our HQ town, and it was on a 60 Minutes episode for being the heroin capital of the United States. So literally for Danny's wedding, I post on Instagram, I'm like, "From the heroin capital to the marijuana capital. I love these motherfuckers." It was me, Seth, Colin, and Danny.
Oh, I'm looking at the I'm looking at the Frog Bridge right now. I have uh I have Stone Row Kitchen, Garibaldi's Mexican, Olympic Restaurant, Gallo's Restaurant. There's so many tacos in here. Wow.
You're
Across the
met
bridge.
Yeah, we'll have to
I'm looking at the
to
Frog Bridge.
go back to Colin's episode or whatever.
That's the heroin capital of the world. I love it, brother. Well, that's a rapid fire round. Let's jump in. Time, sir, for people who don't know or who are still with us. I'm glad this has been a blast. See, you having a good time? I'm having a blast.
I'm having a great time, man. Thanks for having me on.
It's my third one. I'm on my third. These are heavy. This is like Tennessee whiskey, crisp and delicious, crafted cocktail with soda and twist. I'm
Cheers, brother.
I'm downing these. Let's go. These are heavy. This is like 7% alcohol, but damn, feels like 60. Um, Alrighty, so people who don't know, ponytails is the part where we like to have our guests share their favorite stories, their favorite memories, their most impactful stories, their craziest, funniest. It's their pick. Some people have one major long story that can go on 20, 30 minutes, but it's all filled with riveting twists and turns. Some people decide to go, we're going to do a quick boom, 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 boom. Here's 7 quick ponytails, and it takes them 5 minutes. So stick around. I have no idea what's happening. I don't know what's coming up, and we're all along for the ride. So buckle up. Here is Paul Stevens. Paul Stevens shows up. My man, Paul Stevens, ponytails. Go for it, brother.
Thank you for the intro. So to start off, back on my point where I didn't really listen to a lot of the rules that were laid out right off the bat, which kind of messed me up. First day or two by myself. Well, actually, let's back up. Let's start my first follow day with Danny. Danny's such a mother effing stickler to the rules that he won't break a single rule. And I was like, dang, this guy's a freaking goody two shoes. But this was like his sixth or seventh summer in. So he's a freaking great leader. I love that kid to death. Um, I'm following him the first day and we're on our way out of Willimantic. And he's like, oh shit, dude, I forgot to get gas. And I was like, oh, there's a gas station right there. He's like, nope, got to stay on schedule. So we spend the whole day selling in Willimantic, which is completely impoverished. It's the heroin capital of the United States. And there are just some sketchy people. He has me going up. Like, I knock on this door, and the people only spoke Spanish. So Danny had to go up and start speaking his Colombian Spanish to him and did a whole sit down. I had no idea what was going on. Funny looking back because I'm learning Spanish now, so probably could have picked up on a few things. But he gets we're going down this super ghetto street and there's so much commotion going on. There's like kids yelling and parents screaming and Danny and me knocking on this door and some dude's like, what are you doing here? Like, get off my property. And then Danny's like, oh no, like we're just selling kids books. Like, let me show you, blah, blah, blah. I think the guy did have kids. This car, like some kid throws a football, it hits a car, and it literally starts going, you can't hear anything. And Danny just freezes in the mid combo with this dude and starts doing the robot to the car beat. He's like, and I literally started like, what the fuck is going on? This is like my first day, and I'm like rolling on the fucking grass on this dude's property. So that was my start. Next ponytail, rapid fire. So next day I'm by myself.
You're doing the rapid fire. Take your time. It's all your call. You
Okay,
can do it
okay.
however you want.
Well, I want to get through these quick ones.
So
Next
get through
day,
the quick ones, and then I'm excited for this juicy one. I just don't want to miss out on this juicy one that I know it's
yeah,
coming
yeah,
because
yeah.
I don't know what it is, but you hyped it up.
Yeah, so Next day, I'm by myself, and Danny's like, dude, make sure you stay on the outskirts of your turf. And I'm in East Hampton, Connecticut. And correct me if I'm wrong, the reason to stay on the outskirts of the turf is so you get more comfortable approaching people. So when you're in the city, you're not like being such a buffoon. Is that accurate or no?
That's yeah, that is a huge part of it. The other part is that people on the outskirts are generally end up being a little nicer, so you end up getting more sales in a way. So then you have more names. So when you show up to like the quick doors that are next to each other, you start dropping some names, and then you're more likely to get yeses using names for those people than vice versa. Because it's like you're
Got
not going to get
you.
as many yeses if you're blank. Does that make sense? So if you have no names coming from the center, once you get to the outside, it's like you did nothing. So it's like it's just more effective. But that's a good point. People listening to this, there's like a little quick advanced sales. Boom. There you go. Starting the outside of your turf.
Definitely. So I was starting on the outside and I was knocking for like 3 or 4 hours and no one like I think I talked to like three people because no one was home. And I was like, this is freaking boring. So I'm like, fuck this. I'm going to the central part of the city. And I go like
Aye.
where it's super trafficy, cars going everywhere. I'm knocking on doors. People are like yelling at me. I totally forget my sales talk, have no idea what I'm saying. And I end up stumbling on this one person's door, and there's like definitely someone home. I knock on the door, no one answers. I knock a second time, and then I kid you not, these two giant Rottweilers circle around the backyard to the front.
Oh shit.
I'm standing there with my book bag, like, oh, I was like, oh shit. And I wasn't like too scared because they weren't like aggressive. They weren't like, "Rah, rah, rah, rah." They were just kind of like eyeing me. And these two like come up to me like barracudas, like hunting me down, and I'm like, "Oh fuck!" And I fucking turn my book bag towards this one Rottweiler, and the other one fucking just bites onto my ass, like hard, and it hangs onto my ass. Ah, motherfucker! Ah! Finally, this homely girl like opens up her windows from like the second story of the house. She's like, "What's going on down here?" And I was like, "Your fucking dog bit me in my fucking ass." And and she's like, closes the windows, comes down. She's like, "Hey, Choppy, Booby, get over here!" And the freaking dogs run inside, and I'm like, and she's like, "What are you doing here?" And I was like, oh, I'm selling books." And she's like, "Go somewhere else." Slams the door, and I'm just like, oh fuck, this is gonna be a long summer. What did I
this
sign up for?
this lady. Hey, first of all, I love a good dog story. Dogology training, it's great.
Oh,
Second
dude, I
of
was
all, I'll
after
get
dogs after that. Dogs weren't touching me after that, dude. I was a ninja with my little book bag after that. But literally day one,
lady was an HBHer.
home but hiding. But it was a teenager. She was like probably 17.
Oh, she was
Yeah.
probably freaking the fuck out. Some
Yeah.
darker looking college kid shows up to her door.
I don't know why
She's
she
not.
would be. She had two Rottweilers.
Yeah, now with those giant fuck. Were their names really Booby? Chubby Booby?
Nah, I have no idea. Choppy and Booby, those are the best names for Rottweilers I could come up with.
Honestly, Choppy Booby is the great. It could be great names for two Rottweilers, or also a great name for one German Shepherd. Choppy Booby.
True.
Oh, dude,
So, dude, I
good
go back
dog
to
bite story.
HQ and I just have a freaking imprint in my ass. My ass cheek is all bruised. It hurt to sit down in my car the next day. I was like, "Yeah, I think I wanna go be knocking today so I don't have to sit on my bruised ass cheek."
Don't know about these sit downs, but damn, I'm I'll do door demos all day.
Yeah. Yeah, that one was funny. Alright, let's see, what do we got
Good
here?
times. Are you right? Did you write these down? Looks like you're.
Yeah, yeah, I took a couple notes of some of the good memories,
Oh,
so
you came prepped. I prefer. I mean, I don't mind when people just come off the cuff. That's great too. But it's nice when people also. It's a good mix. I haven't had someone be totally prepped, so this is great.
I just put a little note of, like, some of the good
Oh,
ones.
dude,
So,
these are great.
Danny another fall day with Danny, we show up in this really rural area of town, and we knock on the door. Some, like, country lady answers, she's like, "Oh, can I help you?" And me and Danny are like, "Oh yeah, like, hey, we're wondering, do you selling kit?" Dude, I totally forget the whole sales script. I don't even know. Are you the mom of the house, whatever? And she's like, "Yeah, I got my high schooler back here, but we're actually killing our dinner right now. Like, we're chopping up chickens." And me and Danny were like, "What?" And then she's like, "Yeah, you guys want to come watch?" And I look at Danny because Danny's the schedule freak, and he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Fuck it, let's go see these chickens."
Let's see some decapitation. I've been watching Game of Thrones. Let's do this.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, that was the hype of Game of Thrones too, that summer, 2017. So we go back there, and the kid's name was Virgil. He was like this 15 or 16-year-old kid, and just a weird dude. Like he could be a psychopath. He's like, "You got."
Kid's 22 now, so
Yeah,
he's probably out there.
yeah. Be careful if you
Look
get
out,
a contact
Connecticut.
Virgil in Connecticut. He's like, you guys want to see us like kill this chicken?" And me and Danny are like, yeah, sure. We've never seen it before. So he literally grabs this chicken, throws it upside down in one of those little like funnel cups, and its head's dangling. And then
What?
they pull down on the head and just slit the neck, and it starts bleeding anywhere. And the chicken's like, and just bleeds out. And me and Tanner are like, what the fuck are we witnessing? And this Virgil kid's like, oh, don't worry. They don't feel a thing. They're so stupid they don't feel pain. And his dad's like standing there, he's like, oh, they feel it, son. And me and Danny were like, we're pretty sure he feels it. Like the chicken's like going,
You see
and
how it's running around with a chicken with its head cut off? That
but
probably
it's upside
means,
down. It's
yeah.
upside.
I'm saying, you see how it's fucking around like it's a chicken with its head cut off? It probably means he feels it. Damn it!
Yeah.
Oh
And the
shit!
kid's like, what? He's like, Dad, he feels it.
But he's kind of like slightly aroused by that. He's like, he feels it.
Dude, this might be the next Dahmer documentary, dude. This is gonna be Virgil.
Relaxes when it takes some pictures. Wow, dude. That's
Yeah.
so Virgil. Virgil from Connecticut. If you're listening, please don't come find me. Um that that's
Oh,
epic, dude.
we got to see a
A
live
chick
chicken get killed.
on a tangent. Hold on, I gotta fucking find this. Have you seen did you know that chickens I gotta find this video now because we're at this chicken uh I know how to find it. It's on Instagram. Did you know that chickens can completely isolate their muscles from their body?
No.
Do you know what I'm talking about? So like so when you have a chicken and you move it around, it literally will like you could like hold the chicken by its head, by its body, and then move it around, and the chicken can totally 100% move its fucking like head, like leave its head still as you're moving its body. Hold on, I gotta show you this because this is some crazy shit. Like I didn't know this. It's kind of it looks really trippy when you see it. Here it's right here. Oh my god, this is so crazy. Okay, okay. Yep. Okay. I'm gonna share screen. Sorry to derail this, but this
You
is worth
did, you
watching.
did. I'm interested, dude.
This is so trippy, bro. Okay. 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 So I'm looking at this. Okay. And share screen. Here we go. Look at this shit, bro. Are you seeing this?
Yeah. That is
This is
crazy.
fucking wild. If you guys are watching, hour and 22. If you're listening, hour and 22. It's worth checking it out. The video, if you're on YouTube or on Spotify. This is crazy, bro. Did you see-
That is
That's
nuts,
so
man.
crazy. That's
It was like,
weird, isn't it?
These things are so fucking dumb. They don't feel any pain. Like they don't feel anything." They're like, oh, they feel it, son.
He's like, all right. I'm glad they
Yeah,
feel that.
oh,
I was hoping they feel that. I'm glad you said that, Dad. Now I'm gonna go find some squirrels and then graduate. That's crazy, bro. Virgil, the Virgil chicken. That's gonna be the. Let me see your Virgil chicken. What's that you say? That's great.
Cluck, 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 cluck. Let me see your virtual chicken one, please.
What's that you say? Oh, that's so great. Cluck, cluck, cluck.
Dude, Danny needs to bring that in. That's funny.
Oh, dude, you need to tell him. We'll both probably tell him, but you
Let
need to
me
tell him
see
that
your virtual
you told this
chicken.
story. You got to
That's
tell him you told this
funny.
story to us. So
Danny
good.
probably tells it better. All right. So next story, probably one of the funniest sales I got during the summer. I think I had like 2 to 3 weeks left of selling, so I was just like, "Fuck it!" Like I'm just gonna have fun today. Go up to this house and I pretend to be Australian. So it's
Always
like
a good
this,
start.
it's this mom and this daughter, and I'm like, "Hey, what's up, guys? My name's Paul. I work for Southwestern Advantage. I'm foreign exchange student from Australia. I have a home back in Vegas. I moved there for a little bit, but yeah, I'd love to sit down with you guys and just explain kind of like what we got going on here, how we can help your education increase." Andres, dude, girls, if you can do the Australian accent for some reason, dude, I got the sit down. Like they're like, please, like just come in and sit down and talk to us. We just want to hear your voice, especially in like rural Connecticut. I was like, fuck it, I might try this more often. So I get in there and I'm like, oh yeah,
No.
look, so glad to be here, guys. Like, thank you so much for inviting me into your home. Um, the girl ends up buying like the science and the math books, blah blah blah. And then I come back to return them, and I totally forgot I used an Australian accent on this family. Luckily, it was the dad there, and I was like, "Hey, how's it going, sir? Like, good to see you." And he's like, Aren't you the Australian guy? Do you have the books?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, that's me. I'm so sorry. Yeah, yeah.
I was just
Where's
practicing my American accent.
I was like, "Where's your daughter at?" She's like, she went off to science camp, so I'll be collecting the books for her. She told me you were coming, and he ends up paying me the other half. But it was just kind of a fun story doing being a different person for the sale.
It's so good. Advanced sales pro tip here. If you try this and you get a sit down, just say, "Oh, actually, I've been working on my American accent. Can I?" Or whatever the fucking Australian is. And they're like, "Oh, sure." And then they're even more entertained because they think it's an Australian trying to pull off an American accent. And then you fucking nail it. And they buy the bag. So, advanced pro tip. There you
For
go.
real, dude. It could probably help with your PR too in the area. Like, oh, that
Yeah.
was the Australian dude. The American one's cool, or vice
Yeah.
versa.
Just like, "Ah, yeah, yeah." Because
Switch up
imagine if you went up
accents
to a
each
family, and be
day.
like, yeah, if you show up to a family, you show up in your regular accent, and you're like, "Hey, I've been working on my Australian accent. You guys want to hear it?" That make a sit down so much more fun. This is you ask for permission to try different accents. Same thing the other way. If you start with an Australian, you go, "Hey, do you mind if I practice my American?" And they're
I
like,
did feel
"Yeah,
guilty. I did feel guilty on that sale just because I
you
wasn't.
should." But it's
I
great. I love
lied.
it. I
I
love
didn't.
that.
That was my one
I
win.
love that. I would have loved it if the mom would have been home, and then you would have to like been like, she would have been so like confused, like, "I thought you were Australian." "I am actually." Or whatever the fuck.
Oh, I
I
am.
can't do the accent.
I've just been out here for so long, my accent dropped.
"Crikey, I've been a bad cunt." They use that word, like,
It's been a bad.
liberally out there. They use that word we don't here, but I mean, they use it all of the time, actually. I was listening to a podcast about this. Um, dude, that's funny. I love that story.
That
Australian
was
accent. You have
cool.
by the
Oh, dude.
way, your Australian accent is on point. You
Thank you,
practice
man.
this in the shower? What do you
Well, dude, my girlfriend does like a spot on Australian accent. So like she's like mine, she says mine's bad. And I'm like, ugh. But she's good. She like, I don't know. I don't know
wow.
how she's so good at an Aussie
If
accent.
hers is better, I'm impressed because even as
Yeah.
like for a person that rolls at R's, like, damn, bro, that's good for her. I can't do it.
Alrighty, dude.
That's awesome.
So
I love
here
that.
we are. I'm coming to the good
Oh,
story. The
these
phone call story, crazy, written in the
hold on.
stars, lined up. Go ahead.
We have two of them. One it's a mental health ponytail, and the other one's significant why it came out story.
Oh, it's the same one. They lead into the same
Oh, that's
thing.
all the same story.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm buckling up now. Hold on. Let me put my harness on. Holy shit. All right. I thought these were two different stories. Oh, this is one big one. Oh, baby. I'm all yours.
So here we go, man. It's my last day selling, and it's like 8:56, and we're supposed to sell till 9, right? Right?
Yeah, that's
All right,
correct.
hold on. I
Well,
hope I can remember
9:30,
that.
9:30, but that's fine.
9:30, whatever. This door lasted like an hour.
But ideally, you're supposed to knock till 9:30 if you don't have a sit down. But if you get a sit down at 8:50, we all did this. Any fucking DSM that sold 10,000 units and didn't do this, I'm gonna call bullshit. But if it was 8:56 and you got to sit down, you're like, I'm gonna make this one go 30 minutes
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I'm not gonna
exactly.
get out at 9:20 and go knock on a door cold at 9:25, right? So yeah, so for all intents and purposes, last house, last hour, last day, last sit down, last part, last week, last
I was
summer.
so close, Andre. Andres. I was sitting in my car. I was really like, all right, I think I'm just gonna call it a day and go home. It's my last day. So I was like, screw it. I'll work till 9. Last
You
day.
show up.
Go knock on this dude's door, and he comes out freaking screaming at me, livid. He's like, "What are you selling?" And I like show him like my little book bag. It's like, "Oh, it's just high school education materials." He's like, "That's all bullshit. Everything you're selling is complete and utter bullshit. You're preaching bullshit, and all you've ever known is bullshit." So I I literally like look at this dude and I just start laughing. I was like, "All right, man, like tell me why it's bullshit." He's like, "All right, I will tell you why it's bullshit." So we go sit on this dude's doorstep and we talk for probably about an hour and a half, and him just explaining to me, he's like telling me like first he calms down after he realizes like I'm a nice guy, he like relaxes, gets out of his defense mechanism and starts sitting down having a like genuine talk with me. And he's like, yeah, man, like uh, this was one of my best talents of the summer. I wasn't great at necessarily closing all the deals, but people would share with me shit that like I had the divorced mom tell me her whole life story about why she got divorced. Like people would just share with me their deep down secrets. I don't know if I give off like you can trust me with stuff, but this
You
guy's like,
do. You do.
yeah. he's like he's like, yeah, things just weren't going right in my life and my financials were down, my marriage was weird, and nothing just felt right. And I started just looking into why we're here, what's
What up, ponies? Off schedule story, really quick. I wanted to shout out Quentin Roberts' episode number 140. In it, he talks about how he built such a fantastic culture at the company, Cardinal Senior Benefits. If you want more information on that, click the link below or go check out that episode. Back to work. Knock, knock. Last off schedule story. Guys, I want to tell you about my good friend Alex Black. I used to work over at EnLight.Energy, and it was a pleasure working with him and that entire company. Definitely would recommend you guys check out what that opportunity is. It was a great way to make money, and it was one of the most rewarding experiences I had to help people take ownership of their power. It's pretty cool. So, on that note, let's finish up this episode. Bye.
our purpose, like breaking out of you've seen the movie The Matrix, right?
Oh yeah, have I seen the
So
movie?
he's like,
Can I quote it word for word for 2 hours? Yeah, right.
so he's
Yes,
like, he's talking to me about like breaking out of the matrix, how we all just kind of grow up in this fake bubble that's ingrained into our brains since we're little kids, and we never question anything. We're taught to respect authority. We never go against the grain. He starts preaching to me about like the flat earth, how cancer is a myth, how the whole pharmaceutical industry is just a monopoly. And I'm like, all right, this dude's nuts. Like this dude's crazy. But there's something about him that sounds kind of like he knows a little bit what he's talking about, to the point where I'm like, there might be a little truth in what he's saying. And I give him the benefit of the doubt. I listen to his whole spiel. He starts telling me about how our social security numbers are tied into the New York Stock Exchange and we're sold as debt to like the Illuminati or the people who run the world.
of course.
Um, he's talking to me about like God's footprint, God's thumbprint, like vortex math, like crazy friggin' stuff, just like super esoteric, spiritual stuff. And I end up getting this guy's number, getting his email, getting his contact information. No joke, Andres. I talked to this guy once a month at least. I almost met up with him 3 months ago at this seminar he was hosting about, like, natural law and, like, your innate human rights you're born with as a human, but it ended up not working out, and it would have been the first time I'd seen him since 2017 knocking on his door that one crazy night at Southwestern.
Bro, what the fuck?
Yes. Yes, dude, and it gets crazier, man, it gets crazier. Don't talk to this guy, maybe a couple emails back and forth while I'm graduating college, dude. I'm still in the college game, getting drunk, like, going after girls, not too worried about, like, the real world or what's, like, really important in life and stuff like that. Then the pandemic hits, and everyone's freaking out, everyone's confused, no one knows what the hell is going on. So I
Holy
was like,
shit.
"You know what? I'm gonna call this crazy motherfucker I met at Southwestern Advantage on my last day on the door knock and see what he has to say about this whole pandemic." Give him a call. He's like, "Oh, Paul, it's terrible, man. It's terrible what they're doing. They're scaring the whole population. It's all bullshit. You just don't listen to them, man. They're just trying to bring fear into you and scare everybody, get everyone out of their nerves, blah 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 blah." And I'm just curious. I'm like asking him questions. I'm like, "What do you mean? Like, why are they doing this? Why would this be staged? Why is this not a real thing?" Just genuine curiosity. Um, and he starts going off like on a number of things, and and I'm like, "Dude, you know what? I'm not gonna catch up with you like in an hour on the phone. Just send me some video, send me some people to watch, send me some content." So he sends me some video references. He gets me on this guy named John Rose, who's like this pro juice faster dude. He gets me on this guy named Dr. Morse, who's like this natural herbalist kind of dude. And just kind of these guys have very different mindsets in regards to health in the human body and how to keep it at optimum levels rather than you're around a dude without a mask, he breathes on you, you inhale, and all of a sudden you're sick and on your next deathbed. Because I don't want to get in too deep into conspiracies about the pandemic. I believe like a lot of people suffered from COVID, but at the end of the day, it's some of it doesn't add up as far as like some people kick it in a couple days, some people are on death row. Like
Yeah,
it's weird.
and for the sake of avoiding creating a conspiracy here, like, I will say 100% there's some shit about this whole pandemic, whether it's a political thing or a scientific thing or whatever thing. There's been shit that's like, even if it all ends up being bullshit, it's worth at least going, "Huh,
Mhm.
that's weird." Okay, and then back to my regular scheduled programming. But definitely there's been stuff that's like, "Hmm, that's worth like in 30 years this will all come out whether it's all bullshit or some of this is true, some of that not true, and we're not here to spread that word, but I understand what you're saying. There's some stuff that's like, huh, definitely makes you go, okay, go on. But yes, but anyway, sorry.
100%,
Just,
man. No, no.
I'm saying I agree. I understand and I agree with where you're coming from. Where it's like,
Good, yeah, and that's
some of
exactly
this
where
is
I
like
was at. I had,
conspiratorial.
like, genuine curiosity, like, a lot of the stuff wasn't adding up too much, so then I got obsessed with studying the human body and how it worked, because think about it, Andres, and you learn this a lot in Southwestern. When you're out on that book field, and Danny quotes this all the time. There's shit you learn on that book field. Like it crunches years of life into a little small window of 3 months. You see marriages you don't want to be, you see families you don't want to see. You learn lessons about yourself that you want to change in the future. Like the personal growth stuff. Like I said, I got what I wanted out of the summer. I hit my goals. But at the end of the day, when you're back at university or in um, your
The
comfort
normal
zone,
world. Yeah.
in the real
Yeah.
world, you're like kind of like sad for people who don't like didn't experience what you experienced because they're living this little fancy world where you just got to get good grades and you'll get a cherry job and you'll have a great life and it's all just kind of fed to you and the education system's just kind of there like to just keep you busy, like it doesn't really ask you the deep questions like what's your purpose, what are
Bro.
you trying to do, like
We can go into an hour of conversation about this, but yeah, I mean, maybe we might. I don't know. Like, we never intended for these episodes to go long, but I'm with you. I'm with you so far. Go on.
yeah, so I'm preaching to the choir there. Like So it was a lot working into, and it was very like mind opening to me because I've always been pretty independent in my thinking. Yes, I can be sold pretty good. I'm an impressionable person, but I'm also very much an independent thinker. And I'll when I find something interesting to me, I'll try it to its fullest, stop, make my evaluation, and then go on to something else. Like so,
That's what I
whether
did with heroin. I'm just kidding.
That's it. I love the comedian out of you. So I went into got super into natural health, went on a 21-day juice fast where I had nothing
Yeah.
but juices.
Yeah. Oh
Then
yeah.
I went vegan for like 9 months. I started getting into Wim Hof breathing,
Hmm.
ice baths, like
Hmm.
all things that can just
Bro,
help with your mental, physical health. I ended up doing a 90-day juice fast starting January 1st, 2021. I went 90 days without solid food. Danny, I don't know if he told you, he did a 10-day one after hearing my story.
I did a 7 day no food, nothing, only water fast with
Hell yeah.
Danny for 7 days. And then I drove in a frozen lake in Nebraska. We had to like chainsaw the lake to get it to crack open. And then
No
we dove in
way.
there for like a minute. Yeah. Oh yeah. So I'm like, yeah, I'm with you. It's fucking amazing. All this stuff is just really incredible.
Good,
Just for
man.
like the mental like just to be like, I sat in that water for a minute. And that might not seem like a long time, but when you're when it's colder outside in the air, that the water feels warmer, and that's how cold the water is,
Yeah.
that's a long time. And I mean, that minute is a real good way to get yourself to think about your life. It sounds
Wow,
really,
dude.
I mean, I live in Portland, and I know it sounds hippie and shit, so people might tune out for this, but honestly, from a really objective, as most as objective as I can give standpoint, like when you do this kind of stuff, when you put yourself in that, it's because it's mental, it's all mental, and when you put yourself through that, because your body can handle all this shit, it's designed to handle much more time without food and much more time underwater, that cold, not much more, but some. Um, so it really like shakes your shit up mentally. So I'm with you. I'm with you. So you did this 90-day juice fast, and you tried it 10 days. Okay,
Yeah, man. No, and exactly what you were saying. I haven't done that cold in like a frozen lake, but I'll jump in
that's
my
crazy.
pool in the middle of December at like 35 degrees and just be in there for 5 minutes. And no, it's really powerful stuff. And after doing that 90-day juice fast, dude, first of all, 90 days was way too excessive, but I had to do it to prove to
Yeah.
myself what it was worth. And I like pushing my body to its limits. Go ahead.
What was that harder than Southwestern? About the same or easier?
Dude, they're so different.
I mean, yeah, for sure. But at the end of the day, the core factor is I said I would do this. I'm gonna do this. What was harder to say and see through? Because you didn't have mile marker 118 when you were doing the 90-day. So what
Yeah,
did you hang on to, and was
probably
it easier?
probably Southwestern, to be honest.
Was harder or
Harder.
easier?
So
Oh,
in a good
interesting.
way, in a good way. So like that
Right.
prepared
Yeah.
me. I was like, if I can do that for 3 months, I can drink nothing but juice for 3 months. And I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
dude, the first like day 1 to 40, I felt pretty amazing. Like I was working out, like I have a picture of myself like in the mirror. I look like freaking like Wolverine, like I'm freaking ripped. Then you get down to like day 50, 60, 70, and I start looking a little like malnourished. Like I'm definitely lacking like vital proteins, vital amino acids. 90, I look like this might be
Jesus at the
messed up.
cross.
Yeah, I look like I went through like the Holocaust, dude. Like it was like
It's
my
rough.
family was scared for me, my mom was scared for me, but it's not dangerous because you're putting in like 2,500 to 3,000 calories a day, but it's just in liquid form and juice, and I'm alive to tell the tale. So, um, 40 days was about perfect for what I needed to do, but I needed to push myself that extra just to say I did it. Um, and it was amazing, dude. Like ever since then, I don't really get sick for more than like I'm so in tune with my body. Like I can feel when a sickness is coming on. I can feel when I need to stop eating. I can feel when I need to eat more. And
Wow.
it was a long journey for me because people go on all these health kicks and there's so much misinformation in the diet industry, and Seth Hood will ramble on you about that because he started his own thing. The number one important thing is just for food anyway, is what I learned is just stay away from processed foods as much as possible, like the Twinkies,
Oh,
the McDonald's, the freaking like it is you can,
amen.
I always say this, eat good 80% of the time and then the other 20% isn't a big deal. But really what I learned is that your mental health and your mental thoughts, and I learned this looking back on my Southwestern experience, are so freaking powerful to the direction and way of your life. And there's even a proverb in the Bible that tells you like your thoughts control your life. And that is so freaking true because anything in your life, like if you're in a good positive mental state and you're avoiding negative thoughts, good things will naturally just attract to you. And this is one thing I
Yeah.
wanted to point out a little earlier about Southwestern. I love the philosophy: work hard, study hard, be coachable. You can only control your actions, your attitude, your effort. One thing that's contradictory is, and I don't know if they preach it, but it's kind of inferred, is that you have to suffer to be successful. And what
Yeah.
I've learned in the past few years of my life is, like, you definitely have to want something to receive it, but you don't have to suffer to get it. And I read this in a book called, Letting Go: The Pathway of Surrender by David R. Hawkins, and he talks about how it's drilled in us from a young age that it's you have to suffer and you have to go through pain in order to be successful. But when you really, like, take a step back and think about it, it's like, wait, why would I have to suffer to have good things happen to me? You should be in a positive mindset and have positive things going in your life for positive things to happen to you. And that's something that's really changed my whole perspective on like my work life balance, my career,
Mhm.
my thoughts going forward, is knowing that I don't have to necessarily like um torture myself. It's like a masochistic thought to think you have to be in pain to reach the top. You can just naturally attract that with your thoughts and your emotions and how you love on everybody around you and how you love on the world. And I think that I can stop right there. I don't know if you had any input.
No, sure. Yeah, I mean, I got some thoughts, but what you're I like what you're saying. I love what you're saying. I think the way to phrase that is suffering can and is a way to be successful. It is not the only way, and in fact, if you can kind of combine what you're saying, where put some adversity is good for the soul, always, right?
Mhm. Oh,
It's
100%.
always right, but
Yep.
it's not required for success. So if you can find a good balance of adversity and positive perspective and openness, wellness, health, mental fortitude, and just digesting mentally, physically, and emotionally positive uh material, for to call it, not from a, not like a book. Well, I mean, it could be a book, but I'm talking about just general hanging around with the right kind of people. And by the right
Definitely.
kind of people, it doesn't mean money. It doesn't always have to be money. Maybe one of your five friends could be really rich and you can learn a lot from that person, but you can learn a lot from a person who's really broke but really doing something that they love and
Yeah.
following their
Living on
dreams, right?
purpose.
Both
Yep.
of those have just as much to teach you. Where what I think what you're saying, and where I agree 100%, if correct me if I'm wrong, is Southwestern kind of preaches more like, if this person has a lot of money, you should just learn from them, right? And it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, but also like you can learn a shit ton from a person who is off schedule all the time, right? And
Yeah.
is enjoying their time in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Was that person who, like, so I had, people know this, so don't mean to repeat, but I had a summer where I was totally on schedule, sold a shit ton of books, it's great. And then I had a summer where I was completely off schedule. Both of those equally as fun, equally as more, self-reflective, equally as learn heavy, like lesson heavy. Um, but I needed both of those summers to become who I was today. I've said this on the show before. I kind of pity, not pity, because it sounds condescending to say pity. I feel um like people are missing out when they don't just go, "You were in Connecticut. How was it?" "I don't know. I was selling books the entire fucking summer."
Yeah.
You know? And it's like,
Uh,
maybe just a Saturday afternoon where it was totally 0 day and you just went to the beach. It's okay.
yeah. Uh-huh.
And this is not to look, if you're listening to this and you're selling books, don't get off schedule. Go finish your summer. Go. But maybe just take a couple weeks afterwards and just be late for class and just go and enjoy where you're at and be where you're at. Um, so you're right. There is a certain aspect to suffering, and suffering is a strong word. Hardship, adversity that you could definitely learn that you can't learn anywhere else, right?
Mm,
That and it's a specific lesson that even like the happy thoughts that you're talking about can't teach you, but you need to learn that. But at the same time, there's things that adversity can't teach you that you can only learn from understanding how important it is to get your shit together mentally and accept and open up to positivity, accept and open up to opportunity, to overcome fear, to look at fear in the angle. Fuck you. I'm scared, but I don't give two shits. And I'm
mhm.
going to go and do this anyway because I can be fearful or I can just say, fuck fear and come on happiness. And I think that's kind of what you're talking about, where it's like you can just plug in correctly and get a shit ton of things out of life because it'll come find you, right?
Yeah,
You,
dude, that's
what you,
exactly I didn't mean to say life, you're gonna suffer. There's gonna be bad days, there's gonna be good days, and,
oh, yeah,
my favorite books of the Bible is
people
Ecclesiastes.
die.
It's like, be thankful for the bad days just as well as the good days. The confusing part is some people think they need to force suffering upon themselves to be successful,
Yeah.
or else they feel guilty about having good things happen to them, and that's
And
kind of
that's
what
not,
our
yeah,
society preaches, which is just totally false. You don't
right.
need to purposely hurt yourself to or make unnecessary sacrifices to reach whatever your goals are. And the people who do
Yeah.
that, you get these CEOs, these multimillionaires making mega money. Where's their family? Where's their balance? Where's their kids? Like
Right.
they're so lonely and they're so trapped into
Yeah.
material things that they get no fulfillment.
Absolutely. It's kind of the same. You got to pay your dues. You hear that a lot in comedy, for example. Oh, you got to pay your dues. And it's like, yeah, but also I don't dues means I owe something. And it's like, in a way, yeah, you got to eat some shit to earn it, right? You got to learn and fail because failure is really what we're talking about. Failing is important, right? But succeeding is also important. Some people never failed, they just succeeded all the way at the top. And there's something to that as well.
Yeah.
And it's important to understand that and see that, right? And so it's a fine line, right? But if you can create a Venn diagram between failure and success, and you live right in that little middle or large middle, depending on how much they overlap, beautiful. As long as you
Yeah.
live in the middle of it, right? Sometimes it'll
Dude,
overlap a lot. Sometimes it won't overlap very much, but it will. And as long as you're still in that center where you're getting a bit of both, you're gonna make it.
and
That's
circling
really how
back
to circling Venn diagram.
circling back to Augmandino, bro, in the first scroll, he's like, success was just gonna be described 1,000 different ways by 1,000 different men, but failure is only described in one way. It's man's inability to reach his goals in life, whatever they may be. And
That's
that
exactly correct.
is so wise, like the sentiment of that, because
100%.
you can't judge people based off their money, dude. You judge them based on, are they fulfilling their purpose? Are they loving what they do? Do the people around them love them back? You know?
And is what they're doing good, right? Because I mean, Hitler was loved. Hitler checks all those boxes you mentioned, right? Are they doing what they were meant to
That's a
do? Yeah, I
good
mean,
one.
technically, yes. Do the people around them love them? Yeah. And are they doing what they love? Absolutely. Killing all the
Yeah,
Jews or too
yeah,
many Jews, right? And so then,
yeah.
like, as Louis C.K. put it, too many Jews. It's a joke. For people listening, they're like, "Oh my god," I'm joking. Um, but the point is, like, at the end of the day, so if what you're doing is just, what you're doing is fair, what you're doing is ethical, what you're doing is moral, not Christian wise or Muslim wise or whatever, just from what we understand as a society to be ethically and morally good, check. And then from there, what you said, are you doing what your purpose is? Are people loving you? Do you love what you're doing? All that stuff. If all of those are yeses, go. Go on. That's rare. And that's worth doing. And even if it doesn't pay you a shit ton of money, it doesn't have to. And even if it doesn't make you all the fame and fortune that you wanted, it's totally all good. Just do the thing that you were born to do. unless you're Jeffrey Dahmer, don't do that, right? Because
Yeah.
he did what he was born to do. Very much, he was the only one that did that, but or that could have been him.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, absolutely 100%. That's crazy. But he never bought. Did he buy that guy? Go back to from this back. He never bought. You just talked to him for an hour and a half. He said, "All right, I'm gonna go home. Going back to Nebraska. I'm gonna go
Yep.
check out mile marker 118."
Yes, sir. Exactly. No, yeah. He's a super cool guy though. He's actually um right now he's into like first he was into the health stuff like me. Now he's into a lot of like I was saying, your natural law, what rights you have as a human being that they've like the system has kind of tricked you into I don't know, not necessarily knowing just the power you have of being your own human body and standing in your own skin. And I paid for one of his seminars
Oh,
that
he's got seminars.
the
Homie's got a
program put on.
homie needs a podcast. Let me know if he needs a podcast.
Dude,
We help
dude,
produce
yeah,
them. We help produce them.
definitely. I'll let him know. But he does these things called so during the pandemic, a lot of these gyms, a lot of these health places, a lot of these hospitals could get just shut down by the government. And it's because they're operating in the public realm and they're under public jurisdiction.
Yep.
Now, if you flip that and create these businesses or create these private estates in the private realm where they're not under public jurisdiction and you can get them signed in under like a membership or something like that, that's what he's looking into of a way to,
Mm.
they're called unincorporated associations or UAs. And you can start a business and keep all your personal stuff personal where you don't share with anyone. And if there's another COVID that happens and the government says, hey, you have to shut down if you don't follow our rules, you can pretty much say, F you, like this is my private space that you can't be
Mm.
a part of. So it's pretty cool, powerful stuff that he's into right now.
Interesting. Now, to play devil's advocate, this is not, we're not encouraging people to do reckless things and shitty things. If you're sick,
Yeah.
stay home, all that jazz before we get flagged by Spotify for talking about COVID, because we will. We do. Like
Yeah,
certain
yeah, yeah.
episodes, if you scroll through Spotify, there's like certain episodes of ours that's like, I don't know if they're still there, but they used to be, where there was like COVID, get your, like, it was like a fact checker thing under our episode because they like listens to it. And if you say COVID, it'll like flag it, and then people listening in, like somebody listened to the episode to make sure we weren't like spreading false information. So Joe Rogan had to do. It's actually because of Joe Rogan that this happened, but yeah, so we're not trying to tell people fuck the government. That's not the point. But there is
Yeah,
something to be said about the fact that we have freedoms and autonomy, and I'm about that. I'm about free speech. I'm very much about this is what the podcast is about. You're here sharing your experience and your truth. People don't have to agree with you. They don't have to like you. They don't have to hate you either, right? They can just listen and be like, yeah, okay, I agree, I disagree. Food for thought for everybody. We've had every single person, but what is true is you're always welcome. If you sold books on this podcast, if you sold books or you were strongly affiliated with the company, come on in here and talk about your truth, talk about what you experienced and how you felt about it from your perspective openly. And I'm not going to judge you for it. I'll just talk to you about it. So, just to cover those bases before we have some fucking I live in Portland, so I could just hear people here going, people shouldn't be gathering. Oh, fuck you. You don't
yeah.
think that. That's okay. But these people think that, and that's okay too. So I'm
I'm
not, it,
100% on board with that. Yeah. You
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 know what I'm
gotta
saying?
pick.
Like,
Well,
I
dude,
respect people's differences.
my path is gonna be different than Joe Schmo's
100%.
path down the road.
100%.
So I'm not gonna yell
100%.
at them because they didn't come draw the same conclusions I did. But you gotta make your own like values and your own decisions based off the experience you have, you know? And
Yeah.
that's the one thing I love about like, I don't know, Southwestern and the podcast, like you're standing out from what the masses do. And I forget, it's a quote by Mark Twain, but he's like, whatever the masses are doing, do the opposite, and you're probably
Yeah.
gonna be a lot more successful.
It'll be
And
great. Yeah.
so
100%. Bro, I just saw this. By the time this airs, this would be old news, but this last week I just saw this. I posted it on my Instagram and I also put it on the Ponytails page, but it was this Cuban guy who got his first American paycheck. Did you see this? If you haven't
No.
seen it, you can go find it. It's just a beautiful moment where this man. I promise I have a point to this. There's a man that like the video starts with like, "Are you filming me? Make sure you film me. Like, check this out. It's my first American paycheck," and he's like excited. And the lady goes, "Yeah, but look at all the taxes they took out. Whoever's filming," and he goes, "I don't care. It's less than Fidel took." You know what I'm saying? And like how important to like highlight this, where it's like Republican people typically bitch about high taxes, and it's like, dude,
Yeah.
come on, it's for the country, and even if it's corrupt, fucking, it's we're doing as best we can. Give.
Mhm.
All right, it's fucking tithing, right? On the other hand, people were like, "This is a Republican," and then you go the Democrats and everything. This is, and I live in Portland, right? I'm talking from a standpoint of like I've lived in Nebraska, which I mean, Jesus, it's fucking as conservative as you can maybe get in the country. And if people are like Alabama, no, go look up like what the last state to approve anything is. It's always Nebraska. Any progressive measures, it's always Nebraska, the last one. Um, and then I went to Portland, which is probably arguably besides Seattle or San Fran, like the most liberal city. I mean, Antifa is like based here, right? So I've seen them both, and I hear both sides, and I'm like, I mean, yes and no, both of you. And so this guy looks at this check and he's like emotional. He's like reminiscing about his life, the things that he didn't get to experience, things that he's getting to do. He's working at UPS and he goes, I, for the first time, get to believe in the power of when an hour of my life is that I can know that when I work, I'm being paid by the hour. So all I have to do is just work harder and more opportunities will come to me. Was his perspective on this. And I just thought that was such an amazing, powerful thing because if you really sit down and look at it, it's we're so lucky that you get to meet a person like this, where we live in a place where you can have such different opinions, you can
Mhm.
have different points of view, you can have different ideas, and that's okay. And the minute that that gets taken away, where having your personal ideas are not okay, even if they're terrible ideas, from a standpoint of ethically, morally, society will take care of that. It's okay. It's
Yep.
okay that you have shitty ideas or unethical ideas. It's okay. It's okay. The society will just wipe that out on its own. We as this community, because of the rules that are established, can decide that. And so you just got to give it time. You don't got to give it more pressure. You just got to keep letting people talk and ideas will surface to the top. It takes a long time. That's a problem. That's why it took us 150 years to really free uh, you know, to give black people rights, for example. And fuck, you can still argue that maybe we're not there yet, but like that's why it just takes time. Progress takes time. Good
Mhm.
progress takes time. And so, anyway, the whole point I'm trying to make with this is we live in a great place. It's not perfect. People think it is for some reason. It's not, but it's great. And it's
Mhm.
totally okay if you're the man that you met who maybe he's fucked up in some ways, but maybe he's right in other ways. Aren't we all? And
Yep.
isn't that okay? Right? I don't know. That's how
Yeah,
I see it.
no, no, 100%, dude. And one thing to add to that is just like make your own decisions. Like look within,
Yeah.
ask yourself. Like
Don't be sheep.
exactly. Listen to what this side says, listen to what that side says, and then gather what you actually feel. Don't just regurgitate what you hear on like news media
Yeah.
or like CNN or Fox. Like they purposely pin themselves against each other just to keep the masses stupid and not looking at what the
Yeah.
real problem is, which is
Yeah.
the rich people just taking their arm and shoving it up everyone's ass. So it
100%.
so just
100%. If you ever have the thought, if this is you or you have similar thoughts of like, oh, he's Republican, so he's a bad person, or oh, he's Democrat, so he's a bad person, or she, or whatever the fuck, you're on the you're both of those people are wrong. It's just
yeah.
that's just how it works. It's I'm sorry, you're both wrong. Fuck off. Come back tomorrow.
No,
Wow.
I agree, man.
Bro,
That's
what an
awesome.
episode.
So
It
the
feels like a good
takeaway is,
spot.
dude, be yourself, dude. Just look within.
Ah,
Don't be sheep.
cerebral palsy. Wow.
Oh,
This has
grace,
been
man.
awesome, dude.
So good to catch up with you, my brother. I'm
Oh,
glad I was
it
able
feels
to talk.
natural to pin it here, right? To to close it
Definitely.
there.
Dude, that was a great talk.
Thanks, man. I had a blast. This is what I mean. Honestly, if this is people's first episode, if they made it this far, honestly, most of them are like this. I would say 90% of them. I mean, some of them are just more fun and kind of silly, and
Yeah.
also great. Not, I don't think I've had a bad episode from a standpoint of like there's not one that I haven't had fun on. They've all been fun. Um, but these sometimes we get some like these where it's like we get really good, solid thought processes and good good ideas being shared. So hey guys, let us know what you guys think. If you guys disagree with us, good. That's great. We need that. We need that. We learn from that. Make sure you guys give us a comment, follow, like, send us a message of why you disagree or why you agree. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Any closing thoughts, Mr. Stevens? Or is Mr. Stevens your father? Should I call you Senor Paul?
Yeah, yeah, that's my father. No, that's Larry. That's funny.
Senor Paul. Any closing thoughts before we wrap this one up?
No, I think left everything on the table, man. All I know is just follow your path and wherever life takes you, just trust in God
Oh,
because
I love that. That's
you
really
know,
good.
material things are gonna pass, material things are gonna fade, and I'm so thankful. Just be thankful for everything you have.
Oh, I love that. That's so good, dude. I love that. Gratitude, baby. Closing out on gratitude. Hey man, we've come full circle, show up. We've reached mile marker 118, if you feel me. Uh, I'm glad that we had that conversation.
118, baby.
I'm glad that we had that conversation. It would have been great if we had made you episode 118. Missed opportunity.
Ooh,
That would have been cold, bro.
yeah, that would have been nice.
Oh man. Well, hell, on that note, thank you for sharing that with me. I'm really touched that something I said really impacted you. I feel honored that that's something that's a special place in your heart. And you obviously, Pauly, always a special place in mine, my guy. Thank you guys so much for listening. Hope you guys enjoy the conversation. Make sure you guys like, if you like this, please support us. You don't have to pay us, although you can. We're never going to beg you for it. We probably have done in the past, so I apologize. You're more than welcome to join our Patreon. It's out there, so you guys can subscribe to it. If you don't want to give financially, the best way you guys can support us non-financially is just like, share, comment, like tell people, get this into other people. If you enjoy the conversation, tell people about this podcast. Show other book people, show other non-book people, let them know that this is a thing that we have where we give people space to talk and share some really cool, awesome experiences that can maybe impact others and help. If we can help one person, that's all we need. So make sure you like, subscribe, follow, leave us a review. We would love that. It really helps us get more discovered. It really helps us kind of build that momentum and continue. On that note, my name is Andres Gamboa. Thank you so much. I've been with Paul Stevens, the man, the myth, and the legend. Oh, we didn't even talk about how you met Mike Tyson. So that might be a story for another time. But
Oh,
on that note,
that was O.J. Simpson.
or OJ Simpson. That's right.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
yeah, have me back in a year or two.
Yeah, we'll talk about how you met OJ Simpson. There you go. There's a little sizzle to the steak. Peace out, everyone. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye bye.